Screw an intro. We're just getting into it tonight. All right, that was our intro.
All right.
Short and sweet.
Screw short and sweet. It's just short. How's everybody's week been?
It's been all right.
It's been okay.
I've been busy as hell doing work for a guy.
A guy in a place.
Yeah.
Doing a thing for a guy in a place.
Let me put it this way. I feel more like our hacker than I have for the past month.
Oh, I actually went over to a coworker's house this weekend to paint a bust they made. My coworker's husband used a 3D printer to make a bust of their granddaughter that they wanted me to paint.
Interesting.
So I did that.
I gotta figure out what's up with the cams. I used to have them to where they were so pretty, and now everybody's pixelated as shit.
Might be, well, it depends on how big your
Bandwidth?
the preview of the preview of the
right. Yeah.
camera
'Cause normally
on your
yeah. Normally I have this a little bigger, but I've been keeping it like in the corner, so these are pretty small windows.
yeah.
If
So you're taking something that's low resolution and just making it bigger, so the resolution's really going to show up. See that here?
Oh, let's not do that again.
Of course, now everything's different.
Yeah, everything's screwed up. But hey, it wouldn't be a howling stream if everything went smooth. So I don't need to be in studio mode anymore. I'm just gonna go ahead and fix this, but I gotta figure out who's who.
And here I am making it easier for you by not having a camera.
Well, everyone be sure you have the Roll Dice with Friends window open and the Google Doc.
Yep. I've also got my
Alrighty
list of the Wikipedia list of common scams open. So.
Oh, excellent.
Because I realize it's like most of the stuff that I do when I talk to people, it's like, that should be scamming.
Aha! That.
What's our room name again for Roll Dice with Friends?
Yeah, there's a link in the chat channel.
Oh, right. Let me go back there. Sorry, running multiple rooms. Because I've got your, what you sent me on one and... Okay. Ah, yes.
It makes it much easier when I can see dogs. Then I know whose cam is whose.
True.
That you're just gonna be a giant head tonight.
Okay.
Not that that's any different from any other night.
Yeah, you got the HUD there. The overlay.
I know. Every time I hit a cam, it wants to hit the HUD. All right. So who is this over here that is stuck with Julie?
Oh, the one that's partially in Julie's. That's my
that's a combination of you and Gas. But I'm saying, like, I don't know which one it is on my.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Okay, well, that's her actual cam. So whose is this?
Would it help if
One of
I
them is
turn off for a second?
No, actually, that screws up everything else.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay. So that,
yeah, he just needs to sort it out in his streaming software.
This is
the one
actually
that was
Rask,
mine.
but he is very, very cropped. So let's free him, shall we? There we go. And this actually kind of works out because this means that tonight Rasklin can't hide from us like he normally does. He will either be
Oh, yeah.
here or he will
I'm
not be
zoom out
here.
a lot.
There's no zooming out. All right, there we go. Everything should be good.
All of us decided she is the center of attention.
I mean, rightfully so. She's the cutest one here.
Until I get on camera.
Are we sure about this?
No, but it was funny.
Okay, so I think that settles everything.
Are we ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
Okay, well, maybe we should, for people who may be tuning in for the first time, do a real quick roundtable of your characters, what they do, what we've learned about them in the past couple of sessions.
Let me pull up my character sheet.
All right. Well, I've got mine up and ready to go, so I guess I'll start.
Okay.
My character's Richard Miller. Grew up on the streets. Started taking money, basically running basic scams to try and earn a living, keep himself fed and stuff like that, and eventually started going after the more wealthy people, and then turns around and spends his money in the in the neighborhood, trying to kind of spread the wealth around a little bit. Mostly he's just a grifter with he's got a little bit of a hitter in him, but that doesn't come out often. He's very independent, quick reader with a youthful appearance, good at disguises, and running various different types of scams.
Great. Who's next?
I guess that would be me. And I would be Delaney. We don't use his last name because it's probably fake anyways. Delaney just was a standard kid, but realized he always was good at blending in, pretending to be other people, had a gift for acting and overacting. You could talk his way in and out of almost anything. He was able to pick a pocket, plant ideas, and it got so easy, it got boring. So after several stints in prison, he decided, you know what? If I'm going to be doing this, I may as well do it for good. So he put out the call, collected a crew, and decided, let's see where we can go. He has 3 distinctions, which are that he is fun-loving, he is confident, and has a legendary resting bitch face. He is also one of our masterminds. He is more mastermind than thief, but he does also enjoy a bit of pilfering. He likes to style himself a gentleman thief. And then, yeah, that's me.
Okay. So we have a thief and a hacker left.
I'll go ahead next. Martin Kale is basically former itinerant farmer or farm hand, self-taught hacker. First noticed that he and his coworkers were getting screwed over by what basically came down to factory farms, messing with wages, benefits, etc. Started playing a little too much Robin Hood with it, has gotten some IRS heat over the years, but has settled in with this crew, since he's normally pretty good at evading said heat these days. Normally.
Yeah, we established last episode that you have a bit of a nemesis in the IRS.
It's a strange rivalry with the IRS, and it's a very weird thing to say that out loud.
And his nemesis happens to be my friend now.
That's true.
Oh, right.
We don't do half measures of
specializations.
strange behavior.
And then, all right. And then I guess last, not least, is Carlos Rojas, the thieviest of thieves in this group. Not a bad grifter. and he was he grew up in Brooklyn, and eventually went to school, and worked in finance and stuff like that. Realized the only thing he was doing was making rich assholes richer, and decided he was going to flip the script. And he now works with the rest of these gentlemen to help those who need it, and in the process, get as many digits as possible.
Yes, for those of you who are unaware, Carlos also doubles as our crew whore.
Yeah, he's 2 for 2 on jobs and scores so far. All right, so I thought we would do something a little different to start off this episode. As you, I forget, is about half of you have seen the show and the other half have not, as I recall. So, as those of you who have seen the show will probably remember, there is usually a briefing session where the hacker lays out all the research that he's collected for the rest of the group so that they can make their plans. And I thought it would be kind of fun to do it that way this time. So I have sent Rasklin the information on your client and your mark for today. And now on the show, Hardison, who is the hacker, usually does like a whole multimedia presentation. What would Martin's style be of giving the information to the crew?
Old Xerox printouts on bond paper on a corkboard.
So you'd be sitting around a table with actual folders, probably.
Probably, yeah.
Something like
So,
our hub.
where would you guys be hanging out having this briefing session?
I'd figure probably one of the mastermind's many abodes.
Yeah, I figured that, one of my apartments.
Well, pick one. Mastermind, you set the scene. Tell us where we are, and then the hacker can give you your information.
If I recall, we take place in what, Chicago tonight?
That's right. Tonight's episode is set in Chicago.
Then I have no idea where the hell we are because I've never been to Chicago.
Well, just, describe the interior, and then maybe we can work out from that where it's likely to be.
I can find some locations once you give me an idea of what you want.
I mean, likely we're going to be on the outskirts because even though I do enjoy the finer things in life, I'm also very prudent, shall we say. I'm practical. So we're probably going to be on the outskirts, probably more to some sort of industrial or warehouse district. Somewhere not too populated, but not exactly run down. So, not unusual to see a group of guys just hanging out and running around together all the time. Even though we are, I dare say, none of us have. We probably look very ragtag, don't we?
I don't know. Do you?
My character wears a lot of Hawaiian shirts and stuff if he's not on the job.
I was supposed to say, I imagine Carlos is very laid back. Probably wears something pretty loud. Delaney likes
The loudest.
jeans and a t-shirt, but it's always somewhat fashionable. And then we have our unassuming hayseed of a hacker, who, as I recall, is basically just Clark Kent. So someone built, and then I have no idea what our grifter looks like.
Well, we know he has a baby face.
Yeah, probably some moderately decent clothes. Maybe with a few spotches of dirt. Depends on what he's been doing. If he's just hanging out, he's probably wearing some moderately decent clothes.
So what are you thinking? Rascalin somewhere near the docks, maybe?
Honestly, if you want to be in the area of a factory, we could be, there's a couple on the stretch of road between Chicago and Evanston, way up on the north side.
That would be perfect because that's not too far from the location where the action is going to take place this session.
Very good. The area is usually a few factories just in between Chicago proper, some factories, couple graveyards, Evanston, very nice suburb. People
Yeah.
all raise families there.
Evanston is the first suburb, borders on the city of Chicago proper. It's where all the rich people used to have their summer homes by the lake before Chicago grew and swallowed it.
Gotcha. Also, though, Carlos is going to, since we're in Chicago, and my character's not from Chicago, he's going to swing by and buy one of those famous Chicago pizzas that might as well be a casserole.
No!
I make those at home now.
Casseroles do not have bottom crusts, and you don't cut them in slices.
I have just what are you calling? I'm parodying how my I have a friend who's a professional chef, and that's how he describes them. On the other hand, it's one of my favorite pizzas. It's one of my favorite pizzas, mind you, and we have a great place here, just like a block away from where I work. It's horrible. It's horrible for you, but it's really delicious.
Now, Carlos
would like us to know that Chicago pizza is more like a tart.
Yes, I will accept that.
Okay,
Carlos is the one who's from New York, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, so real different from New York pizza.
Very different. I've had New York pizza before.
There's also
As long as
Chicago
none of
hot
us rock
dogs. I
up with
seem to
Detroit.
remember Carlos likes hot dogs.
Oh, he does, and he'll probably be getting at least one of those at some point.
See, Chicago hot dogs I have a problem with. Because they have a lot of things that that aren't supposed to go on hot dogs.
Like
But
what?
they'll
uranium?
get picky if you try and put some things on them. They're like, no, you can't do that. That's not a proper hot dog. It's like, well, neither are Chicago dogs.
Well, I mean, in California, you just walk up to some dude on the street and he'll hand you a hot dog that's wrapped in bacon.
Okay.
I assume you have to give them money for this.
Well, yes, you do, but
that would be awkward. Just walk down the street, all of a sudden, boom! You have a hot dog wrapped in bacon. Okay.
when you're at a sporting event or a concert or something, and you have all the street vendors out there. The standard hot dog you get in California is wrapped in bacon.
Okay.
I mean,
At
it's
least
not the
in
most
LA.
disturbing description I've ever heard. Someone once asked me where to get a good taco in Texas, and I was like, you can literally just walk into any bathroom and there'll be a Mexican selling tacos just right there.
All right. So you're in your meeting room. I'm picturing it being a fairly plain room. You're around maybe one of those old wooden tables that's really solid and heavy. And Martin has passed out your folders with the information about the current job that you're on. You want to take it from there, Martin?
All right. Our client, Joe Morello, age 36, is the proud owner of the Cup of Joe coffee shop in a gently shabby neighborhood on the north side. Let's assume just a bit north of Rogers Park and leave it at that.
That's actually exactly what I pictured.
It's his second business. His first attempt flopped pretty spectacularly, leaving him sadder but wiser and wrecking his credit rating. He was able to scrape together enough of an investment from friends and family to try again, and things were looking good for a while. But last year, when he hit a rough patch financially, he had nowhere to turn for a loan except to Big Bill Novak, the local loan shark. Novak is the title to the business as collateral, and if Joe misses 2 payments, the coffee shop will be forfeit. Joe did the math and figured he could pay off in 16 months if business remained steady. Next month should be his last payment, but he's already missed last month's installment because business dropped off sharply. Regular customers suddenly stopped coming, and Joe heard a rumor that they'd been threatened. Yelp was flooded with negative reviews, and Novak's thugs hung around the neighborhood discouraging casual customers. Your mark. William Big Bill Novak's nickname doesn't refer to his physical size. It's about what you'll owe him if you take out a loan. In his mid-40s, he's been in the business for over 20 years now and has staked out this neighborhood as his territory. He maintains a thin veneer of honesty as a flipper of buildings, but in reality, most of the properties he sells come from loan defaults, and he launders his own money as part of the sale. Most of the physical dirty work is done by Novak's pal, Jesse Malcolm. Novak keeps him loyal by cutting in on the profits from each deal. Jess keeps a renovation team, who also break legs when needed, on the payroll as well. The pattern seems to be that when Novak spots a business that seems vulnerable, he gets Jesse and his crew to tip them into defaulting once they're close to being paid up. Novak's pulled this scheme before. He currently has his headquarters in the back room of a computer repair shop called Slipped Disc. Word has it that he took over the building as part of a loan payment deal, but allowed the owner to stay in business to provide Novak with cover. Novak is unmarried, but enjoys the company of women. He regularly attends the Chicago Symphony or the Lyric Opera with his latest escort. They all seem to be fairly interchangeable brunettes in the 25 to 35 range.
So I caught that there's
All
two
right.
men.
Okay. Well, let's see here.
I'm assuming
Well-
that Novak is our mark.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's your typical gangster loan shark, doing whatever he can to make sure you default so that he gets not only most of your payments but also gets your business.
Well then.
So that's the basic information you have at the briefing. If there are more things you want to find out, of course, you can do some further reconnaissance.
Okay.
But you may
I
also
almost put slipped dick instead of slipped disc in my notes. This is
That's
how
a
we know
wholly
I've been
different
typing
game.
too much this week.
But you may want to start thinking about ways to approach it. Which you can discuss in or out of character as you.
Trying to think here.
Right.
Well, what we need to do is we need to, for as far as physical evidence is concerned, this guy has got to be keeping books somewhere, and not just, obviously not like before, not just the cooked books, but he's got to have some real ones somewhere to act so that he knows where his money actually is. So we probably
And no matter what, he'd also need a place to launder the money.
Well,
If we
as
can find
mentioned,
that.
he launders the money by selling the buildings.
Well, that's pure profit. The money that he gets from the money that he extorts from people needs to be cleaned somehow. He can't just say,
Yeah.
"Hey, I loaned out this guy a bunch of money at an exorbitant rate, and right about the time he was ready to
One
pay
of the
me off, I
businesses he owns
you
is
know."
definitely a front.
he might not actually be selling the properties per se as much as making it look like he sold the properties, and then using the loan payments as the money that's actually buying the buildings.
There is also the renovation side of the business.
Yeah.
So those would be good places to look for how he hides the money.
Well, So there's that. Well, here's the deal. We can always try and do what the feds tend to do, is start with somebody lower on the totem pole, catch them in the act of doing something they're not supposed to be doing, and then use them to flip on somebody higher. And then once we get the higher person, we use them to flip on the boss.
Yeah, but there's a slight problem with that. That is the fact that we can't threaten. What do we threaten them with? We can't threaten to arrest them.
You can pose as feds.
It works for the feds because the feds can say, "Hey, you're going to go up. You're going to be sent to prison for this, unless you tell us what we want to know." We can't threaten them with prison time.
Well, we can. They don't know.
I mean,
that
we
we're
could.
not the feds.
Okay, so what we're looking at is we can pose as feds and threaten all we want, but unless we have something that we can honestly say, hey, we've got dirt on you doing this, they're just going to smell a rat and immediately call it out.
Well, then what we need to do is we need to investigate and follow maybe some of these more of the street level guys that work for them and find out who they are, find out where they hang out, what they do, and we basically we do the same thing. We just sit there, you sit in a car with a camera and get all the pictures you can so that you can say, hey, I got proof that you've been here doing this.
Okay, but I think we're better off playing with...
I think Rascal's been trying to say something for about 3 minutes here.
What is your idea?
All we have to do is make it look like one of his people, make it look like, is working for a rival. I can fake bank payments, the rest of us can probably fake photographs, something along those lines. And at that point, we just need to make sure that whoever we get is someone with intel, sensitive information, someone who has a lot to lose.
Okay, I think we'd be better off playing to our strengths rather than trying to impersonate somebody else's strengths.
Yeah.
Fair.
See,
I mean,
okay,
we're criminals. We should be doing crime to try and get to the bottom of this.
Exactly.
Well, I mean...
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
You got to look at this. All of us are professional criminals. All of us have done prison time. So all of us would know that the first rule is that you don't take on a bigger crew unless you know you can take them down. We don't know shit about these people.
Well, like I said, we need to find out. Finding out information about them is the first thing that we need to do. But if we're really gonna play the whole if we're really gonna go lean hard into crime, I mean, yeah, most of us here are pretty much scalpels, but we can sledgehammer it if we need to. You know, hang a guy upside down above above something, maybe have their encase their feet in concrete and threaten to drop them in the river. I don't know.
I want to find out more about what he does outside of or behind the counter in Slip Disc. Because there's no way he's only running out his loan shark business from that. So, the easiest way to get in with a crew who's into extortion and running numbers would probably be to have somebody who's good with a hustle, right?
Yeah.
So do you think our grifter would be able to put on a show and that could catch someone's eye?
So what exactly are you wanting me to do? that's the question.
Well, I mean, so far we've had great success with putting in plants. But with this one, like I said, this is a rival criminal crew. Like, these guys work on the streets. So the only way we're getting anyone in is by showing them that we're as good as them and make them want to recruit talent. So even if we know that they have something going out of that computer repair shop, the only way we're getting someone inside is by either having the grifter pull off something that makes them take notice, or by having our thief pull off a heist that's good enough for them to take notice.
Hang on a moment. I think you're missing our greatest potential with this. It's a computer repair shop, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have a computer expert.
Oh, that was my third option.
I'm not going to be able to do dick with computers. But our hacker could go in as a legitimate employee who's, yeah, I can fix this. Oh yeah, I'm pretty decent at computer repair and stuff. Kind of downplay his ability with computers a little bit, just to the point where, hey, I can help the company actually stay afloat and actually look legitimate, and gets access to a lot more stuff.
That does play into his behind the curve, because I guarantee you most of their customers are going to be older people.
Yeah. Because that's my problem with going in there myself, is it's like, okay, I can put on a good con, but once they set me down in front of a computer and say, hey, fix this, I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Well, that all depends on how good they are at running their front, but yeah, I get where you're going from.
I mean, if their customers really are older, it might just be a matter of turn it off and turn it back on again.
Yeah. But what I was going to say, but I mean, a little bit to our mastermind's point, if we're trying to get someone in, not just on the front, but into the real business here, we might need we might need to, you might want to find somebody who has, skills they're looking for in that regard. Like,
here's my one question for you. If you get somebody in, how likely are the rest of you to want to storm in and start a fight? Because this is not a legitimate business. These are criminals we're talking about. If they smell a rat, they're not going to be like, oh, you're fired, don't come back again. That person's going to be in mortal danger.
Yeah, and there's the rub with that one, is we only have one person right now who has any skill as a hitter. And unfortunately, that's also our grifter.
Now, in case it wasn't clear from the briefing, I'll just clear this up. The computer slip disc is a legit computer repair shop. It's just that they got into debt to Big Bill. Big Bill took them over and allowed them to keep operating so that he can have his HQ in the back.
And it'd be a great place. It'd be a great place to launder the money, because I mean, if you say, "Hey, okay, we're only going to charge you $50," but the books say that you charge them $100, that's $50 he just brought in from his loan sharking business to launder the money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, there's a plan that satisfies all three needs, but we're not going to do that.
Hey, this is a challenging one, because we have to think different than all of the jobs that we've done together before.
To find everything, and then suddenly just everything's there online, because these guys are going to know the tricks. They're going to cover their tracks.
Now, first thing I want to do is I want to actually go to the coffee shop by myself. Okay. I want to see what kind of a racket how they're shaking down the customers, how they're trying to get people away from that coffee shop.
Okay. So you how do you dress up to go to the coffee shop? What persona are you putting on?
Probably I'm gonna go a little extravagant with it. I'll probably be wearing a moderately decent suit, kind of almost like a day trader type of thing, just kind of like, had to get away from the city for a while, just, had to take a break. Heard good things, heard about this coffee shop, so I decided to, take a drive outside the city, visit it, and stuff like that.
You're still in the city, just to be clear.
Okay, well, on the edge, or wherever it is, as far in relations to everything, just kind of like I want to kind of get away from. I want to get away from business. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be away from the financial center.
Yeah.
But I just wanted, in case you were picturing, like, being in a small suburb out in the middle of nowhere, it wouldn't be like that.
This is, I think this is like on the edge of the city, just kind of like, hey, just want to be out away from everything and all the touristy shit.
Yeah, Chicago is very, very sprawly. There are miles and miles and miles of suburbs surrounding the city itself. So this is the edge of the city proper, right before the suburbs start. Okay, so you come in dressed as a day trader. You saunter up toward the... you can see the coffee shop. You're about a block away. And two big burly guys, one of them's covered with tattoos, kind of step up to you, just, subtly blocking your path. And the guy with the tattoo says, "Hey, pal, what you up to?"
Oh, just getting away from everything a little bit, all this time in the city, the tourists and shit. Just kind of getting away, taking a little bit of a stroll. Thought I might get a cup of coffee or something.
Yeah, I hear there's a real good coffee shop a couple of blocks that way.
A couple of blocks, but there's a coffee shop right there. Coffee's coffee.
You don't want to go to that one. Have you seen at this point the other guy speaks up. Yeah, have you seen the Yelp reviews? Terrible. You might get food poisoning. You wouldn't want that.
I just kind of laugh it off. It's like, yeah, Yelp reviews you can't trust what those people say. The only people that really post any kind of reviews are the people that had a bad experience.
Trust me, you really don't want to go there. The first guy says.
At this point, I kind of look at both of them as like, is it really all that bad? I mean, can you really screw up a good cup, just a cup of coffee?
Oh, trust me, it's worse.
I kind of start, just kind of like, slowly keep questioning him, slowly raising my voice, just see if there's, just see if anybody comes to back him up or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah, you get fairly loud, but you don't see anybody else coming. So it looks like there may be others manning other approaches, but it looks like these guys are the only ones, at least in this area.
Okay. At that point, actually, I'm going to go ahead and, just like a couple blocks that way, you said, and basically go up the 2 blocks and kind of come around, see if there's, just not even really approaching the coffee shop, just seeing if anybody else comes up to me, kind of trying to feel out where their muscle is.
Okay. So you're approaching from a different direction, you say?
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and stop by another coffee shop and just have a cup of coffee, but just like strolling along with my coffee and see try and gauge if anybody else is like, no, you don't want to be in this area at all.
Okay, so if you're carrying a cup of coffee, then you're probably not looking like someone who is going to the coffee shop, but you could try to scope it out, which I would say would be alertness plus hitter.
Okay.
To see who looks like they are lounging around to cause trouble.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be a D10 and a D6.
Okay, and this is a notice action, so you roll first.
Okay. And I got a 9.
All right.
38, yeah.
So no ones. Oh, everybody remember you have two plot points to start with.
Just mine.
Okay.
Down to
yeah,
4.
you pick out on 2 other lines of approach, 2 other pairs of tough-looking guys who look like they're there to cut off people approaching the coffee shop. So 6 in all.
Okay. And with that, I'm just gonna go ahead and like get back to the car and just like probably like throw the coffee in the trash because like yeah, because it's probably like a Starbucks or something like that. It's like ugh.
Inferior yuppie scum.
Would you say
Starbucks
Richard
really
is
is
a
awful.
Would you say Richard is a coffee snob?
I wouldn't say a coffee snob, but like I'm not a coffee snob, but dear gods, Starbucks coffee is just awful. It's either loaded with sugar or it's just horrific tasting.
Fair.
Over roasted.
I would.
And yeah, I'll go ahead and drive back to the group, back to our hideout for the week, and be like, okay, so yeah, they've got about 6 people. 6 people watching the 3 different approaches. So now at least if we, as far as the coffee shop is concerned, we know what we're dealing with.
Okay, so we have a vague layout. We know that they're not going to let anyone get physically close. At least not without acting like the coffee killed their mother.
Anybody who might be looking for a cup of coffee or something, they're going to interrogate basically anybody who comes by who doesn't have a cup of coffee in their hand.
It's interesting they
If you
mentioned
say-
food poisoning. Has anybody actually gotten food poisoning there?
You find some Yelp reviews that claim they did, but you don't find any write-ups from the health department.
Okay. So we know they're not tampering with anything yet.
Yeah, I'd give you that without rolling. That would be, easy to find out with some hacking.
Well, with 6 people guarding every approach, we actually can't send anyone in that easily. At least not to the coffee shop.
Not obviously to the coffee shop. There's a few ways around it, but it's.
Well, it would be
but
difficult to go in as a customer, at least.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
impossible, but I'm sure you can find ways around them, but there are barriers, let's just put it that way.
And I want to make sure that we're prepared for those barriers before we make any moves. Okay. So my next question would be, does he run all these businesses that he's acquired with the same shell company?
That sounds like
sounds like a job for a hacker.
Very good. What's my target number?
Let's see. Finding shell companies is not that hard for a hacker unless the tracks are covered very well. Beat a 7.
All right, that is int plus hacking. 9.
None of your distinctions apply?
Not that I'm going through it. Unassuming hayseed, rural familiarity, behind the curve. Behind the curve was the only one I could see, maybe, and
Okay, no biggie. Just checking because you did beat the number.
Right.
Okay, so you do a little digging around, and you find that He doesn't seem to have kept too many properties. Usually he sells them off right away.
Okay.
But yeah, it's all going through the same shell company.
Okay, that makes it easier to find him at least. So, what sort of properties is he currently holding?
Let's see. I won't make you make a separate roll for that because that seems reasonable to be the sort of thing you would have turned up. Let's say he currently has he just has a couple on the books right now. There was a bakery that's closed, and there was a yoga studio.
Okay, so the yoga studio's still open.
Yeah, let's say the yoga studio is still open. Barely. Like, they're actually they've got a message on their website that says they will be closing soon. And who to see about refunds for lessons and stuff.
Well, if I'm going to send anybody to a yoga studio, it's probably Carlos. And I think we should probably see if they've had the same sort of runaround, the bad Yelp reviews, the sudden downturn of business, customers not showing up.
Let the swarthy Latino show off his flexibility.
Exactly. We got to get him a number for this round too.
I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna show up in my shorty in my Tom Selleck shorty shorts, and everything. A loose fitting sleeveless like t-shirt kind of thing. And
is it mesh?
No, I'm not going mesh this time. Not going that far. But because what I got to do is I restyle my hair into a man bun.
Oh, nice.
Oh, we're going full on.
Yes.
So the name of this place is the Blissful Balance Yoga Studio.
Okay. And I'm going to show up, and here's the deal. As I'm walking up to go to this place, I'm fully expecting someone to try to stop me. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to have my earbuds in, okay? And I'm just going to be sitting there carrying my gym bag and everything, and quote unquote not paying attention, right? But I really am paying attention.
And I'm just kind of last time. What are you pretending to listen to this time?
Oh no, I am listening to stuff. It's just I'm keeping an eye. I'm actually keeping an eye out while I'm not. You know what I mean? So there actually is going to be music playing. That way, when whatever eventually happens, that you can hear the music when I take the earbud out or whatever.
Okay. So are you like hoping to be accosted, or are you trying to avoid them if you can?
Oh no. If they accost me, I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to. I'm going
to
lean into it.
But the approach that you're making is the approach that you're making completely open, or are you, like I said, are you trying to get around them?
Oh no, I'm not trying to get around them. I'm trying to see if they're doing the exact same thing here, and if they are, have them come to me.
So you'll be approaching openly.
I'm approaching not only openly, but like I'm the scatterbrained, hipster with a man bun here going in. And on top of that, what I want to do is if one of these guys, I want to do that thing that you see in a lot of crime movies where like I bump into them by accident and I steal the guy's wallet.
Okay.
Because I want to find out who these people are, and if I can get a name that might help us down the road. Maybe we could, we could manufacture some evidence, put the squeeze on this guy later, but we got to know who he is first.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can get an ID, if I could steal an ID card or something, a driver's license, you name it, something that gives me some basic information on this guy that we can use, all the better.
All right. So you approach the Blissful Balance Yoga Studio. Have to do the gesture.
Rocking your Latin himbo style.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you find that it's just it's pretty close to the Cup of Joe, actually.
Okay.
Close enough that some of the same people can probably cover both locations when they're watching out for potential customers. And you run into the big guy with the tattoos that Richard also ran into.
Okay.
Literally, from what you were saying, right?
Literally, I'm just running it like I didn't even know he was there.
Okay. Now you have a pickpocket ability, don't you?
I do. I have the pickpocket ability. I get to add a D8 when I'm trying to surreptitiously steal from somebody.
Okay. Why don't... Let's see. I'm going to roll some difficulty for you.
Okay.
And all you have to beat is a 6.
Okay, so I've got a D10, I've got a D8, and then this is I'm assuming this is your usual fast hands kind of thing. So agility, right?
This sounds good to me.
Okay, so that's another D10. So let's see what I get.
Any of your distinctions apply?
Well, I already rolled it, but I mean, the closest thing to a distinction I have that might apply is I don't know, class clown, because I'm gonna totally play this off like the dude from The Big Lebowski.
Okay. Well,
you already beat it by 7.
Exactly.
I know.
So that's an extraordinary success here. Narrate for me how you go about this.
I mean, you
So
basically
I'm
just
walking
took his
in.
pants off.
So I'm walking up and like this, I just bump into him and I just I slip the wallet out of his thing, drop it in my gym bag without him noticing, and I stagger back and I'm like, "Whoa, man! Why are we taking up the entire sidewalk? That ain't cool, man. You're really harshing my mellow."
Beat it, you little punk.
Hey, man, I'm not here for a fight. Man, what's wrong with you? Man, you really need to open up those chakras. Got a little hostility going on there.
Quick, hand him
Maybe
a
you
business
should-
card from the spa last time.
Exactly.
But I'll hand up like, hey, I found this place back east. You should try it. And I just hand him a card and I'm like, it's like, wow, man. Oh, man, my mellow. And I just kind of wander off like I'm so dejected that
You know what you should have done when you handed him the business card? You should have also handed him a pack of insoles.
So he apparently doesn't even seem to think it's worth trying to discourage you from going to this place, interestingly enough.
Okay. So if I'm not going to fully get discouraged, I'm just going to walk into the place though, and I'm going to be like, and I'm going to try to talk to the business owner. Be like, hey man, this looks like a pretty chill vibe here. Why are you closing down?
So you walk in. There's a woman about 30-ish, wearing a leotard. She perks up when you come in the door. Like, oh my gosh, a customer.
Yeah.
And she's, oh, welcome to Bountiful Balance Yoga. Or Blissful Balance Yoga, rather. I'm sorry. I have to admit we're closing in a week, so I can do like a one-time session, but we don't have any classes running right now.
Oh man. Well, I mean, that might I mean that might do for now. I just moved into the neighborhood, man, and I'm looking for a place where I can really center myself, you know, really get in touch with my inner energy, man.
I understand, and I'm sorry that we can't be your spiritual home, but I'm sure you'll find one. In the meantime, if you'd like to just, I was if you'd like to do a basic routine, maybe a little deep breathing and a few poses,
That'd be
it'll
great,
help me
man.
gauge your flexibility. She's kind of looking you up and down
That'd be
to
great,
see.
man. I could I'm really into working my flexibility, man.
Have you done yoga before?
In my head, I'm like, well, and in my head, I'm sitting there's a mental thing. It's like the audience would hear. It's like, no, her name wasn't Yoga, and I'm like, yes, man, I've done it a couple times before.
Tell her your favorite pose is downward dog.
Okay, so we'll have probably at this point we have like a commercial break, and then we zoom in on you guys at the end of your session as you are finishing up with, I don't know, sun salutes or something, and
what I gave her, I did. If they do take information, I'm giving
Mhm.
her my name. I'm giving her the name of Mark Green, one of my aliases, and I'm giving them an address, probably a place that I'm giving and give them one. I'm going to give them an address that probably a place that our mastermind owns, but it's a place we're not using or something. That way, if they try to come, like if they do anything and try to come after like actual customers who are still patronizing these places, we can we know where they might go, right?
Sure.
So set up some cams is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Set up some and I'll let you guys in on this after I'll say, hey, that one place you don't use, that crappy apartment over off on 5th Street, yeah, we set some stuff in there. Maybe we can get some cams of these guys breaking in or harassing or doing some property damage or something that we can get them on.
I do happen to own several apartments near the L.
So
so what I'm thinking is, you're finishing your session, and then maybe she hands you a clipboard and says, well, maybe if we're hoping to find a new location. So yeah, if you could just let me know where to get in touch with you. In the meantime, good luck finding a place. I understand if it takes you, if you settle in somewhere before we have another solution. But it was real nice meeting you, Mr. Green. Mr. Green.
It was most excellent meeting you too.
Hey, Carlos,
And
make
then
sure to actually get a number.
I just stand up and I'm like, and I give her a slight bow. Namaste, man. Namaste. And yes, I will. I will try to get some digits if I can.
How will you go about this?
Just while we're doing the yoga session, possibly subtly subtly hitting on her, using my charms to and stuff like that. Be like, and it's like, if you don't, or maybe just something as simple as, if you don't have a permanent place soon, and I'll be like, I'd be down if you I'd be down for some private lessons if you offer those. Yes.
Okay, sure. That should work.
Okay.
Is there any other information you're going to try to get on this visit?
Nothing right now. What I don't want to come off like I know too much. If this is an angle and a character I'm gonna work, I want to try to do this a little more organically and like maybe if we meet up a second time later, I'll be like, hey man, so why is your place doing? You seem to be really talented, man, you know, that kind of thing, and see if I can get her to tell me without, you know, coming off like I know too much.
Well, I mean, that is part of the grifter's skill set, so, you know.
And that is my secondary, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, but yeah, I could actually get some of that information now to see if we and everything, and I'll just be like, and before I go, I'll be like, so man, um, you know, you seem to be really talented, man. Um, I don't understand why you don't have a lot more customers. That's possibly the most refreshing, the most centered with my energies I've gotten in months. Um, you honestly should have a lot more people in here, man.
Yeah, well, it's hard to keep a business going, and I mean, to be honest, I think people are she looks a little teary-eyed, but holds it back. I think people are a little scared of the neighborhood. You know, it's not that upscale. There's some scary characters hanging around
Oh
sometimes.
man, are you talking about that dude with the tattoos? Yeah, man. He was totally harsh in my mellow earlier. Almost tried to make it seem like I shouldn't be going here, man. It's not cool. Not cool at all.
She nods, and yeah, he's one of them, definitely. And you know, bills, and well, just I can't afford this location anymore.
Oh man. What a bummer, dude. Well, I hope it goes better for you, man. But in the meantime, I'd really look forward to some of those private lessons. You really opened up my chakras. I felt like I could totally feel my energy flowing through, man.
Well, thank you. Namaste.
Namaste, man. And I'll give her the bow and everything, and then I'll take my stuff and I'll just wander out.
Okay. So you can see that the same techniques being used in both places, definitely.
Okay. And again, you know, I assume with the earpiece in and everything, I make sure everybody is aware of what is
I'm pretty
what's
sure
going
the
down.
three of us ripped out our earpieces about the fourth and namaste.
Hey man, I had to ham it up.
So you have made away from all of this with your with a wallet belonging to the dude with the tattoos.
Uh-huh. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead, head back, go ahead, look through the wallet when I'm well out of there, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna look through the wallet, get his ID. If the guy's got any cash, I'm gonna pocket that. Why not? I'm a thief. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I've got no qualms against that. Um, and then I want to see if does he have any business cards, anything in there that might give me like places he might go or frequent, uh, you
I
know, other
assume this
places that
dude is gonna be frequenting a tattoo parlor.
well, yeah. Of course. But yeah, I'm sure he's gonna have some stuff like that. But like, you know, maybe he has a business card for like a local, like he could have something for like a local dive bar or something that he hangs out at, a or he might even have like the phone numbers for some of the places that um his bosses, quote unquote, own. You know, just anything I can get that might give us a little extra information, something I can hand off to them. And then once I get anything like that out of his wallet that looks important, I'm just gonna toss it.
Yeah, do me a favor. Make sure to toss that condom he had in there too.
Okay, you find out that his name is Elijah Stafford.
Okay.
And the main thing that you find, there is some money. There's about $100 in there.
Okay. Hey. Some lunch. That's some lunch for the group.
And let's see. There's also a credit card. Right? What's that?
You said Stafford or Stanford?
Yeah.
Okay,
Stafford.
Okay.
There's also a credit card and a you find a folded up printout of a prescription for allergy medication.
Okay.
Turns out he suffers from fairly severe seasonal allergies and actually needs a prescription to deal with it.
Okay, so not just your standard over-the-counter stuff.
No.
Damn it, now I'm sympathizing with him.
Yeah.
Assholes have allergies too.
Hey, I see. I see this as an avenue of attack if necessary. Some people carry pocket stand. I'm gonna long-haired pet dander.
No. You want whatever blooms in the spring. You want the seeds. You want the pollen from that.
Yeah, you just want like a shit ton of pollen, especially boxwoods.
Just go out to a park and start tapping all the flowers and stuff, and get a sack of pollen. And be like, pocket pollen.
But once you have the credit card, I'm sure you can also have your hacker. You can find out where that credit card's been used. You can find his tattoo parlor. You can find his favorite bar. Any place he's used the credit card.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna hand over that stuff to the. What do you call it? To our hacker. But only after I buy myself a new pair of shoes with his credit card.
I was gonna say while you're handing over, the grifter is just staring at that, looking at his lips like, oh yeah.
Meanwhile,
kind of like that meme of the guy behind the tree, just like, yeah.
You see me walk in, I've got a brand new spanking, a pair of Air Jordans.
Okay, so what is the next stage of your plan of attack here?
Well, it sounds like our hacker has his job.
True.
Yeah, I mean, but until you know what specific information you're looking for and what you plan to do with it, it's like,
yeah, I'm not quite sure how we're gonna.
It would be easier for me to give you to say, hey, you find this specific information, rather than to say, here's every place this guy's used his credit card for the past 6 months.
I'm not sure how we want to use this guy in the first place, because he does seem like the main muscle. But does going after him expose us too much?
Well, and keep in mind, there's at least 2 levels above him. These guys all report to Jesse Malcolm. Jesse Malcolm reports to Bill Novak.
These guys could be our into Jesse Malcolm.
Hold on, it sounds like
here's the question: do we want to hurt him, or do we want to, or do we want to convince him to go on our side, to be on our side? Because we could pull the same scam as the spa was before in the last run. Be like, hey, we've got you suffer from allergies? Yeah, I used to be the same way. You know, hey, we've got this miracle thing. It works wonders, and basically just like give him like the highest dosage of Sudafed that you can.
And a pair of insoles.
No.
Yeah, we could flip them, but that is a good route. But then what are we specifically trying to get out of him? Because if he's just street level.
Well, again,
well, one thing is, I'm just going to toss this out here. If you get him incapacitated, there'll be an opening on Jesse Malcolm's crew.
This is
true.
true.
We do have a hitter. And
like
that
I
is
said,
easier than the route that I was considering.
This guy gives us access, so we can use him to get to Jesse Malcolm, and we can use Jesse Malcolm to get to the big boss.
Yeah, I want to see what kind of person Jesse Malcolm is. So, what do we want to do? We want to play the health scam?
Play the health scam. We could play, I mean, I think that's the easiest way to kind of get to him, be like, hey, kind of get it on his good side. Maybe to the point where, if somebody gives him a specific code word or something, he just kind of lets them by without too much hassle.
All right. So that sounds like we need to know where his pharmacy is, or is that on the prescription receipt?
It'll be on the prescription because the doctor's office usually works with the pharmacy, and then they'll be like, "Okay, we're calling in the prescription to this place and your regular pharmacy, and you can go pick it up."
I was gonna say is what we could do is what was trying to think of how I want to go about this, but like I could we could get a hold of some I forgot the word for it. We can get a hold of some sugar pills, some placebo, right? Something that looks close enough to his regular pills, and then replace his prescription with that, so he thinks he's taking his high dose medication, but in reality he's not, and then he just turns into a snotty mess that can't do anything.
Why don't we do both?
Well, no,
we'll do the high dose pseudoephedrine that will actually cure him. But if we need him incapacitated and he's starting to, we say, hey, here, take these. Take this.
See, I'd say it the other way around, because is this the type of guy who's just going to take a miracle cure just from hearing about it, or are we going to have to rig his medication first so he thinks that it's not working anymore?
That was my idea. Is we make it look like we make him think his medication's not working.
Well, it really kind of depends on. It really depends on that. It comes down to the dice roll.
Well,
I mean, if I can convince him, which isn't just which is a standard scam.
I was going to say, it comes down to how you want to play it, because that is a grifter specialty, and I'm going to leave it to you.
Well, not wanting to rush you, but we're an hour and a half in, and you are still 2 levels away from your actual mark. Yeah. So maybe get something moving soon.
Okay. I think what we need to do is we need to try and get the hacker in and doing more than just background work for us.
Yeah, we do need to.
Because I mean, Ras hasn't been doing much other than like checking on his credit card receipts.
I mean, to be fair, he was carrying the last 2 games. I was giving him a break.
I mean, being in the background here wouldn't be too bad, depending on what I'm doing. And the question, how do you want me to, utilize slip disc to its highest effect, is another thing. Well, and maybe that is remotely. We have to figure that out.
thinking of it as think of it as, you know, a money laundering scam. Really diving into my character here. You know, they, like I said, they would have to offset the charges somehow. We need somebody who's in the business and knows that, hey, you get $50 from the customer, but you write out $150 worth of parts and labor in order to launder the money. We need somebody that has that is able to get that kind of proof. And an employee would be able to do that.
I like that idea. That is the most practical way to go about it. Our hacker looks conflicted.
Either approach works. I also, have a dog who keeps digging into my back. Martin, not so much, but Andrew does.
We should get Martin a dog.
Okay, so
Martin's dog would be a complication.
I can do a I can do a costume. I can do a disguise to try and get the guy on the street to, buy into some kind of miracle cure that does better than, that treats his stuff better.
I'm gonna play this one. I'm gonna split this. I do want you to go after that guy, and I do want our hacker going in to slip disc, but I don't want him just using his hacker, because if he's gonna get evidence of cookbook, I want him to dip into mastermind a little bit. See what else you can find on him.
Okay. So unassuming is definitely going to come to play.
Okay. So how are you going to get in?
Are we talking to me first?
Well, I guess decide which one you guys want to go through. I guess the other thing that I'm not quite understanding also is what do you gain by curing the leg breaker's allergies?
Getting a friend, getting somebody who trusts us.
Mm-hmm.
Even a ground level person like that trusts us gives us access would give us access to somebody to at least getting in on the ground level. Right now we have no access to their empire at all.
So you want him to introduce you, or what is it that you want him to do for you?
Like, if we befriend him now, and then later we decide to send our thief in to get a position, then knowing somebody and being on friendly terms with them definitely makes it easier to get that introduction.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I see what you're saying. It seems like this is something that we shouldn't be spending a huge amount of time for, though, because it's just one step on the chain. So why don't we try and do this quickly with a couple of rolls?
Okay. Here's trying to condense everything down into a bite-sized interaction. Mm-hmm. I want to present him with this quote unquote miracle cure, mm-hmm. with the idea that this is something that their business could use to help launder money. Mm-hmm. It's another business that they could get involved in, therefore introducing a member of our crew as the market person, as somebody that would that it needs to be introduced to a higher ranking in the crew.
So you want to talk them into selling allergy medicine? Is that the plan?
Marketed as a miracle cure, not just for allergies, but this is good for like a lot of stuff, and we can get it cheap. If you have a market, I mean, we're trying to find a better distribution center. which should appeal to the boss, or at least somebody in his organization, as, hey, this is another potential moneymaker. Maybe they need a loan. Maybe they need, something to get us a connection with their higher the higher ups.
Okay, well, silly question. They do loans. Why don't you just go to him and say that you want a loan, as opposed to waiting for him to think of giving you a loan?
Well, that's kind of what I'm trying to condense it down into. Hang on. Let me go through with my scam here. So my scam is that I'm just kind of trying to, I'm doing ground level grassroots marketing. I don't have the capital for it. Hey, it really does work. See here, try it for your allergies. Yeah, see, it works. I need funding for this. I need something, our company is small. We've got like only a few employees. We need better funding and a better distribution route in order to do this, rather than just saying, hey, I just heard you give loans.
Right.
And approaching them in a suspicious manner. I want to do it in a more, hey, if only here, this works. I'll prove that it works to you, and man, if I could get some funding, we'll do it. We could really make it big.
Okay, I think I've got a bit of more of a picture now. So
and we could probably do that in a couple rolls, really.
The funny thing
exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Let's get that rolling. No pun intended.
That was actually my idea. I just hadn't said it yet because I wasn't ready to spring it.
I'm sorry.
Let's set up a shell business. Let's put our grifter as the face of it, so that we have someone there who can scam them. I didn't think we were ready to spring that yet.
Well, that's the thing. For me, it's like, okay, I'm thinking in my character's role of, hey, how would the individualist, the independent person, how would I do this?
Oh no, I just find it funny. You and I think so much alike that I was like, I could suggest it, but are we ready to suggest that?
I am, and I'm independent.
Go for it.
Screw you.
I mean, there's independence, but you do still have to work with the team.
Yeah.
Well, my big hang up was, if they're going after businesses that are struggling, I was going to say, let's set up a business, but then I was like, oh shit, I'm a real estate magnate, so it might look like the business isn't in enough trouble for them to get a loan.
Well, but that's only if you do it as yourself.
Well, I'm not exactly going to give him, the worst place to start out.
Well, what I mean is you guys can present yourselves any way you want. That's part of the what's the word I want? The operation. But okay, so let's start with who wants to. I'm seeing a little montage here again for where do you want, if you want to make the guy think that his regular allergy medicine isn't working, who's going to make the switch and where for the placebos? Do you want to do it at the pharmacy, go in with a white coat, pretend you work there? Do you want to pick his pocket after he's picked it up? How do you want to do it?
I honestly think having our thief swap it out is probably the best bet. That way I don't have to worry about, hey, he might recognize me through my disguise or anything like that.
But you know what? He knows our thief too, so I think this is time for me to
go
pick his pocket.
No. Aren't you thief secondary mastermind?
I am.
Well, I was going to say,
then.
yeah.
Well, but I also do have a very forgettable face.
You do, but the mastermind hasn't gotten to roll dice all sessions,
True.
so
That's
And
fine.
That
I
is
haven't
very
been
true.
a thief in 2 sessions, so
Okay. Yeah, but what I would suggest is going in there, pretending to be a pharmacist, finding his prescription, but filling it with placebo sugar pills, so that when he gets it, he thinks he's getting the real thing, but he's not. and then we
Funny.
don't have
It's
to.
almost like I'm a mastermind, and that was my plan in the first place.
Okay.
Okay, so describe it for us. What do we see?
Well, we don't do the white coat thing because, first of all, no, way too relaxed for that. So I just kind of, the tricky bit is how do I get into the actual pharmacy without an ID? So I think first off,
well, they can be
I can use a
pickpocketed.
plot point, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, I think I'm going to use a plot point for a little quick flashback. Where
Okay.
before we loaded him up with everything else that he needs to find, I will have gotten our hacker to make me up a quick little fake ID just to make sure I can get into the pharmacy, pass any initial inspection. And then, yeah, I'll slip in and I'll know just enough of the lingo to just be like, hey, fill in this prescription. I need this, whatever the prescription name is. And, yeah, like he said, I'll go in, check the racks, find his, swap it out with a quick... I'm not going to empty the pills. I'm going to swap it with a similar bottle that I've already labeled and everything. And I'll pocket the bottle. And then, yeah, I'll make sure that we fill the prescription and I'll just hand it off to him.
Oh, heck, I mean, you could just use the bottle as the miracle cure.
Exactly.
No, we want the miracle cure to be specifically from us. But
now you have this bottle of stuff
that's
that
true.
you know works.
Yeah, instead of
fair
coming
enough
up with an extra strength, we just give him his prescription.
Mm-hmm. And if you talk it up enough, you can sort of encourage him to think that it's better than ever.
And all we need to change that pill, because he's going to be very familiar with his pills if this is a prescription, all we need is a little food dye.
Okay, so we see you walk in. You in the flashback. You've got the fake ID. You swap out the pills. I think since that isn't really setting up that's more creating an asset, I think, than it's not the kind of flashback that gets you out of a current problem. So I think for the cost of that plot point, I will also let you create an asset, and let's call that prescription medication. Prescription medication D6.
Hang on a moment. Gas, whatever you're watching is going through. Is coming through.
I have no idea.
Something's coming through your mic. That's why I'm like,
At least it's not
it was like
something about a wolf. I'm like, that.
Okay, so what are we rolling for this entire shenanigan right here?
Let's see. Let's say, just to make sure you get in and out without complications, what should we call this?
I'm going to assume we need a thief die.
Yes. Yeah. A thief or a grifter, but I think you have a better thief die. You're going to need to beat an 11.
Okay.
And as for the attribute, make me a case.
It's most likely going to be agility, because this is just a quick swap.
Okay. If you want to rely on a quick sleight of hand.
Yeah. Now, as for distinctions, I'm going to say confidence is definitely going to play in here, so that I can pass off that I'm supposed to be here. I don't know if my resting bitch face plays in.
No, actually, I looked it up, and we should be using only one attribute anyway. I think that's to prevent people from like saying, "Oh, I'll roll this one at D8 and this one at D4," and
All right,
like
well,
doubling
so
up on them.
that's
So
2 D8s and a D10.
yeah, unless let's see, what's your signature asset?
My signature asset is a multi-band police scanner, which has no use here.
Not for this specific thing, but you may find a way to make it relevant later in the case.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I've been waiting to reveal that one.
Go ahead and roll it.
All right.
Very good.
Jeez.
That's an 18, so you succeed with style. Basically, you stroll in, do the thing, stroll out, and nobody is any the wiser. And there is now a D6 asset of prescription medication.
Awesome.
So why don't we take a break from this storyline, set up what the hacker is doing, and then we'll move to phase 2, where the grifter convinces Mr. Tattoos, Mr. Elijah, to try this great new thing.
Okay.
So,
All right.
now, there isn't a help wanted sign at Slip Disc, so how are you going to go about getting yourself hired?
Who's working there right now? Can I figure that out real quick? Looking at their payroll.
Sure. They have, it's not a big office. They only have 4 employees.
Whichever one has been there the least long, I'm going to get them a job elsewhere. Hello, temp agencies of Chicago. Moving a couple favors around or something similar.
Okay.
Then I'm going to fill in the gap immediately myself. Having gone in with a worried look on my face, and once she leaves or he leaves, I go, "You're hiring?"
We'll say it's a she. Why not?
Okay.
We'll call her. Oh, what's a good name? Jennifer.
Okay.
Can't go wrong with Jennifer.
And I get her a job. Let's just say she has a degree working on servers already, and I just got her in a place that was hiring.
Sure, you manipulate the records to
If you're playing around their payroll already, why do you even have to go through a job interview?
Because it's
only 4 people.
Yeah, it's a tiny office. They're going to notice if somebody just shows up.
So, are they desperate enough to hire me on the spot?
Well, I think that depends on how good a job you do of talking them into it.
Andrew is not.
You're going to need to grift.
Proper role play, so yeah, this is going to be a die.
I mean, we can do some role play around it too, but there's definitely going to be a roll happening.
Grifter is D4. But it's a coffee shop. I'd like to say alertness. Dear gods, do I ever have alertness?
Well, the coffee shop isn't where you're getting yourself hired, though.
Isn't Slip Disc a coffee shop and repair place?
No. Cup of Joe is the coffee shop.
Ah.
Which we can't get near yet.
That's right, I'm sorry, Andrew got confused for a second. It's Slip Disc I'm going into. So I just demonstrate, I just need to demonstrate my skills, and I could make the case for hacker there, but...
You could. Yeah, in fact, I'd allow it.
Let's say alertness plus hacker. Does that work?
Alertness for... How are you going to use your alertness?
Making sure I'm ready for every question they've got for me when I suddenly walk in the door.
Okay. And You want to use your charm as an unassuming hayseed?
Yes. It means I'm willing to work for absolute crap, which in this instance is true. After all, I'm not negotiating for a high salary, and that, or hell, high hourly, and that alone is probably good. That's a D8 then, right?
Okay. So give me a little taste of how you would present yourself. We won't do a full role play of the scene, but let's get a flavor of it.
I'm going to masquerade as the wildly overqualified person who says, "Yes, I have all the solutions too," and I just go down a list of something much harder than anything they might ask me.
Okay.
And I act like, "But when do you ask me the real questions?" And I do need kind of a high-ish payment, and I give such a lowball number, it's ridiculous.
Okay.
I am playing, I'm assuming, Hayseed into the hilt for this.
Excellent. Okay, let me roll for them. I'm just going to roll a straight 2d6, which is the typical, because, oh my goodness.
If I don't beat this, we will assume my classic luck came out.
Yeah, and that bumps up the free luck substantially.
Oh, God.
That's a 12, beat it by 10.
Okay, so you snowball them. They think they are the luckiest people ever. But they're like, oh man, Jennifer just left. Whoa, this new guy's awesome.
You know what? If I can get this place running right and away from Novak, they might be lucky.
Yeah, they might.
Look, don't make me purchase any more than I'm already thinking.
If you want to work towards that, it is a thing you could do.
I need side goals that are not just help my weird frenemy in the IRS.
So I'm going to say with a role like that, not only do you get the job, but the desk that they put you at has a perfect view of the door to Novak's part of the office. Like, you can see everybody who goes and comes through that door.
Inward squee, but only inward.
I was trying to keep mine quiet.
I was wondering what that was.
Extremely inward. Bottled squee, I tell you.
Now, over to Richard.
All right.
So, Richard, where are you going to arrange to run into Tattoo Buddy? Elijah.
I'm going to scan through his credit card bill and find somewhere that he frequents.
Sure. Yeah, there's a pub, a bar that does food where he likes to have dinner.
Like I was gonna say, like a bar, restaurant, whatever, and just kind of like noticeably just like rubbing my nose, just kind of like and then very prominently pull out the stuff and take one of the pills. Probably not a great idea, boys and girls. Don't take medication that isn't prescribed for you.
Well, you could always, just palm it and not really take it.
But yeah, and then after not even a minute, just kind of like, oh, thank God.
And he pulls out like an actual cloth handkerchief and blows his nose and says, "Oh man, I hear you. This time of year, just every kind of pollen going at once, right?"
Right? Yeah, I know. Man, I swear, I'm so thankful that I fell in with some of my business partners. They came up with this antihistamine that is just, it doesn't matter what it is, it will just knock it out. And I always feel, I feel so much better, more energetic, and just more pumped up than even this, even the prescription stuff. Just yeah, it's amazing.
Does it align with chakras?
But yeah, it's over the counter. It is just it's barely under what the limit for needing to be a prescription. But he just kind of hangs his head and just kind of shakes his head a little bit, just kind of
My prescription stuff just isn't cutting it this year. I don't know why. Maybe I've got a tolerance to it or something.
And with that, he just kind of looks at. He's like, "You want to try one? I mean, trust me, they will help like you wouldn't believe."
Okay. So I think what we're going to roll for here is whether you impress him enough to get him to stick his neck out for you. In other words, we're going to make this roll, and if you make the roll, you will have him as an asset to use on future rolls.
Okay.
Let's see. He is, boy. He is.
How to make friends and influence people.
I'm trying to think what to roll for this, because I'm just going to do a straight up roll on it because his leg breaker abilities don't really come into it. He's just a normal guy with allergies for purposes of this, who wants to be convinced that there is a solution to his problem. So beat a 6.
All right. Well, let's see here. That's a. Let me make sure I've got everything here. That is alertness as far as knowing his symptoms and stuff like that and seeing how he's reacting. Grifter and want to buy a watch. That's a 10, an 8, and a 10.
If you fail this roll,
I think I succeed.
Oh, you absolutely succeed. And yeah, so you have got Elijah the Grateful, I'm going to call it, as a D6 asset that you can use on future rolls if it applies.
All right, that'll help. And once he tries one, I'm just gonna be kind of like, I'm just kind of like shrug and just kind of like shake my head again and look at him. It's like, if we had proper funding, we could be one of the top pharmaceutical properties. It's so hard to start out with like nothing,
Oh, I know a guy who does loans. I mean, they're high interest, but product like this, you shouldn't have any problem paying it off.
And I'm just gonna, I'm basically just gonna be like, yes, absolutely. I've got, a partner of mine deals with all the actual like business aspect of this, but yes, oh my god, a loan would be so good. The banks don't trust our product because it's all the bullshit federal regulations and stuff like that. We can't actually get a bank loan.
Okay. So, he is going to send like word up the chain, and I think in order to keep this moving, we can just assume you get an appointment out of this to meet with Bill Novak.
That's perfectly fair.
Meanwhile, speaking of Bill Novak, Martin, you actually get to see him going in and out of this door over the course of the next few days. The door connecting so the way the building's set up, you figure out, is there's the shop in the front, which has an okay security system. There is a door connecting the shop to Novak's quarters that are back there, and you gather that he actually lives back there. He's got an apartment behind the shop. That door is locked with double locks, but they're just conventional key, the kind that could be picked. who knows what further security he has on the other side of that door, but for the door in between the shop and his apartment, it's just a conventional lock.
The kind that below the curve would be useful on.
Potentially.
Okay.
And you see him at least once meeting a woman there.
Okay.
And getting, he gets dressed up to go on the town. He wears a tux and everything. Fancies himself cultured. I mean, he probably
Fisk.
I mean, he gives every sign of actually enjoying or actually looking forward to the event he's going to. So, yeah.
Okay.
So you can meet with Bill. How do you? That seems like the next scene that probably you want to go to, and how do you want to approach that?
As far as meeting with
first?
Huh?
Who's going to go?
That's what I was gonna say. I am gonna want to bring somebody else in as kind of the
hype man,
head of marketing, or the money man, or however we want to put it.
Well, Delaney seems like the obvious person because Jesse hasn't seen them.
Yeah, that's true. I'll go ahead and take Delaney and be like, huh?
Or I'm sorry, Elijah hasn't seen him.
Yeah, so we get a Kingpin versus Arson Lupin.
And kind of have him. He's the business side of things. He's the nuts and bolts type. I'm just kind of like I'm the guy who brings in customers when and where I can find them.
Sounds
so. Yeah, we'll bring him in with.
I'm gonna dress down for this though. I'm not gonna show up in a big business suit because we're just starting out. We don't know anything, so I'm actually gonna go in a rather ill-fitting, just like off the rack business suit, kind of baggy. Definitely make it look like I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm really trying to impress a potential investor.
Okay.
So where do we want to meet him?
Well, you can meet him at Slip Disc, or I guess it depends on whether you're going to present yourselves as already having a store, or that you want a loan to set up a store.
Well, Grifter, do we want a store, or do we want to meet him at Slip Disc?
We'll meet him at Slip Disc.
All right. So yeah, we'll meet him on his home turf.
Okay, there's a meeting room off the store in the front that Bill takes over for meetings with his clients. So you will go through the actual shop. You'll probably pass Martin's desk.
I'm going to very pointedly make sure that they know we don't know each other.
And then you go into a little adjoining side room with a door that can be closed, and there's a table there, and Elijah actually goes along, shows up to at least do the introductions. So he's like, "Hey, Mr. Novak. These are the guys I was telling you about. They've got this fantastic allergy medication that they're trying to set up, and I thought they might be the kind of business that you could be interested in. So, what name are you giving, Richard?
I will go with James Cunningham.
Okay, so Mr. Cunningham, this is Mr. Novak. Mr. Novak, this is Mr. Cunningham.
You gonna say anything there, Cunningham?
Pleasure to meet you, sir. I brought our more business savvy person. I'm more of just a kind of somebody who, I push the product. I try and get people, I show people how effective it is, stuff like that. Numbers. I'm not good with numbers.
Absolutely no head for business.
Well, gentlemen, why don't we have a seat and see what we can do for each other? Thanks, Elijah. You can go. So he brings you into the meeting room. Mr. Novak he actually is wearing a suit. Not a great one, but, not the worst either. He's thinning a little on top. Got a very wide mouth. And he says, I gotta tell you, I've been in this business a long time, and this is a little out of my wheelhouse. Normally, I'm dealing with properties, but you guys don't have a property, right?
Oh, no, sir. No, sir. We don't have a property yet. We wanted to focus on the product before we set up a storefront. And we're going to have to look into that, because that's can't have a product without somewhere to sell it, right?
And where do you produce the product?
Oh, we have a supplier. They're downtown. They're looking to find a new location too. They're in a very small kind of place right now, and we really want to amp up production. Just really playing off that nervousness.
Well, I do have a building on the books right now. It used to be a bakery. Could maybe make you a deal for that.
I look over to our mastermind there, Delaney. And it's like, actually, a bakery sounds pretty good to me. Like, you'd already have like a facility for producing everything and stuff like that. That should work out pretty good, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I'm gonna start nodding, and I'm gonna start jotting down some totally bullshit numbers on the paper, make it look like I'm doing some calculations for cost and labor. And yeah, actually, a bakery would cut down our costs by at least 30%, and that leaves us with a 20% increase in profit.
Okay, so once again, what is your plan here? Do you want to get him to give you a building? Do you want a contract? What are you trying to get out of him?
I want to say
he's definitely open to these things, but how do you want to maneuver things?
Yeah. All right, Grifter, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking a contract for a loan towards the building, kind of like he gives us a loan. We're paying for the building from the loan, as well as being able to use the loan to expand our production and distribution. But a contract is very good.
So we're looking for a contract for a brick and mortar and potentially production cost, like equipment.
Okay.
Yeah, so probably going to go for a building and retrofitting, something that he can definitely gouge, because we want to make it tempting.
Okay, well, let me just get you one of my standard contracts, and if you want to go and see the building, we can do that. If you decide you want to see the building, we can, hand wave that with a little montage.
I think at the point where he says that we could show you the building, I'll kind of like wave my hand a little bit. It's like, we trust you. You seem like an upstanding businessman. Well, we can trust you. I mean,
we've heard your name around.
You're willing to invest in us. We can provide you a little bit of trust.
Exactly. Everyone says Novak runs the best deals in town, so we'll trust you. We don't need to see the building.
Okay, so he leaves the room. He goes into his back area, comes back with a contract, and says, "Now, just so you understand, if you default on the loan, it reverts to all assets revert to me. That's standard. Don't worry about it. The interest, I'll be straight with you. The interest is a little higher than you'd get from a bank, but I'm a lot easier to convince than a bank. And you got Elijah vouching for you, so that's a point in your favor."
This is where I'm going to take the joke. Oh, no chance of a friends and family discount, is there?
Not even for my own grandmother, he says.
All right, so yeah, definitely going to fake looking over the contract, not really reading it, because, we don't really need this anyways. And, yeah, we'll go ahead and forge it using the Anderson alias, of which there is no trace anyways. We'll definitely play up the grateful and say, "Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Novak. This is really going to help us out, and we promise you're going to see such a profit from this, and you won't know what hits you when you see the quarterly reports. We promise."
Hope so. Pleasure doing business with you gentlemen. I have for the renovation, my second in command, so to speak, is Jesse Malcolm. He's in charge of remodeling and stuff. I'll have him take you guys over with the keys and talk about what kind of retrofitting you might need.
Sounds good.
So, once again, we don't need to go into great detail about what happens there, but you are showed over the building, unless there's something you want to try to get from Jesse Malcolm during this bit. But
I don't think Jesse knows anything that we need to know right now.
Yeah, he's he's big and tough. Obviously, started out as just muscle and worked his way up by being a little smarter than the average. Could definitely still break legs if needed to, even though he's a little older than the other guys. So you guys are now the proud owners of a former bakery. And you have your hacker embedded. How are you going to spring the trap? Or what sort of trap do you want to spring?
Well, that depends on if our hackers come up with anything. I mean, if our hackers been able to get stuff, I have kind of a trap, but it's more of like a wrap-up type of thing rather than like an official trap. I'm leaving that to the mastermind.
Well, you can like DM it to me and we can talk it over.
Okay, so Martin, how do you want to go about finding? What information do you want to go about trying to uncover, and how are you going to go about it?
I think at the end of the day, I just want a complete list. Well, all right, unless I get any input from the rest of the group, I'm basically going in gradually trying to get a complete financial outline of the business. This is a bunch of shell companies in the end, a lot of laundering. I'm going to be looking for evidence of that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we can't really, getting them arrested for it is a little tricky given the angle, but blackmailing them with it, I don't know. Now, I don't know where this is going to play into our end trap that everyone has in mind, so...
Well, maybe it would be a good idea to figure out how you want this to tie together, because that'll help you narrow your focus.
Yes. So, everyone, besides the clear evidence of money laundering on the buildings, what am I looking for?
Preferably looking for them charging people cheap but billing them large. Basically, so here's what I picture that they're doing to launder the money: is they're charging people like $50 to fix a hard drive. That's what they get in from the actual person, but they bill it at $150 and fill in that extra $100 with the money that they get in from their illegal business, making it seem like, hey, everything's above board.
The second I see a credit card charge that doesn't match what's on an invoice, that will get us that.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Then that gives me a very clear idea of what I'm going for. In actuality, it'll be like 1 billion different counts of fraud, and all I gotta do is catalog it and bag it. So that's going to be, and I know you'll want to roll our target first, Juliet.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be. Looks like it's just going to be intelligence plus hacker. I'm just not really seeing anything a distinction or asset can. No, master of cast-offs. Those old receipts are going to be tied to a bunch of old hardware in the back.
That is a very good point.
So that's a D6 for the asset, correct? Or signature asset?
Signature asset is a D8. Regular asset is a D6. Signature asset is special.
All right.
So let me think about this. I'm going to say, let's see, I'm trying to think about the difficulty here. Because theoretically, you are supposed to be just repairing computers. You're not officially involved in billing. But you are in the system. So I guess the question is, how hard is it to get from the part of the system you can get into to the part of the system they don't want you in?
And
I mean, technically, he would still have to write up tickets.
Yes, true.
And I am still handling physical inventory a lot of the time, which gives me access to hard copies and good old cell phone picture.
That is very true. I'm just going to roll the basics then.
One other thing we might want to look for.
Okay, just 8 and 9.
Oh, and real quick, since I am doing such a low-grade search on that, would behind the curve apply now? Since I'm literally looking for old paper receipts in a computer shop.
I mean, I don't see why not, but I'm also interested in hearing what Carlos had to say.
Okay.
Oh, no. The other thing I was thinking of, and it would tie into this, is if we can get a hold of, if it's possible, and maybe we have to come up with another way to do it, but get a hold of records from their the messages they're sending each other on their cell phones, like, hey, anything that would say that they are not just making these illegal loans, but they are purposefully sabotaging the like anything that we could use to prove that they're sabotaging the businesses to make them default. So like, hey, Tony, stay outside the yoga studio and just harass anybody who comes in. Or, I mean, if they made a bunch of fake Yelp reviews, there's got to be evidence of a digital trail of that.
That is fair. It would likely be a separate role, though. And you might want to like try to clone somebody's phone or something to if you want to see what's on it. But for now, let's see what Martin can do about getting evidence of the money laundering.
Okay, behind the curve is going to be a D6, right? Added to that, or is that a D8?
That's a distinction. So you have the choice of D8 or D4, depending on whether you want plot points.
Let me play it safe with that one and go D4.
Okay.
All right, that's a 9 to beat. I think a 13 will, okay, beat by 4.
Yep. So you do discuss. I can't believe nobody's rolled a 1 except me this whole session.
You understand how happy I am about this, correct?
Well, yes. So yeah, you are able to pull together some information. You also discover that yeah, they are on the brink of shutting down the yoga studio. Actually, no, you wouldn't find that from the things you're doing, but you know that they're on the brink of shutting down the yoga studio. But I guess that wouldn't show up in the things that you're searching.
No, I mean we've communicated that among the party already, so
yeah.
But I would be able to know how much the yoga studio would have to come up with and whether or not we as a party want to float that to give them some breathing room.
Potentially. So did any Carlos, you haven't been doing much. Did you want to try and work on getting people's getting the cell phone records?
Yes, actually. Would it be possible to get a would it be possible to get for our hacker to come up with some kind of like a something Bluetooth or like a Bluetooth enabled device or something that would auto connect to their phones as I'm just near them. So
like a phone cloner or yeah, a backdoor?
That's what I mean, a phone cloner. So we can clone. I can clone a few of their phones, and then we can then he can take a look at them on his system to see what messages they're getting, who's telling them what, like what orders they're getting, stuff like that.
I think if you'd be willing to spend a plot point for it,
I'd do that. I could do that very much. Let me see here. So get my plot points down to 1, and oh, come on. Okay, so my plot points are at 1, and then basically, so yeah, I'm just trying to go around. I'm going around, and again, I'm gonna be a different person this time. Instead of Mark Green, I'm gonna just be I'm gonna dress up in a completely different attire, right? And just keep the clone, have the cloner on, keep it with me, bump into as many people as possible. Maybe not literally, but try to get as many of these people to harass me as I can, just so that I've got time and whatnot to get the as many of their phones cloned as possible.
Okay. Let's see. The fact that you are cloning the phones rather than actually picking their pockets means that you have an easier job. You just have to get close enough to them to pick up the signal.
Yes.
I'm almost inclined to call this grifter because in order to pull this off, you're just coming up with excuses to bump into them.
Actually, here's my perfect excuse. I'm going to put some Silver Fox highlights into my hair so that I look like I'm much older. Get myself like get myself one of those like fake mustaches. Right? Nice salt and pepper gray mustache, right? And go in there, and when they're telling me I should go somewhere else, be like, "What? Hey? What you saying, Sonny?"
All right, then.
Like a doddering old man. Because if I'm a doddering old man, they might be less inclined to get physical with me, but they might also, get frustrated enough to not think that I'm up to anything, that I'm just, you know what I mean. So
Sure. All right. Beat a 9 again.
Okay, so what do you want me to roll? So this is going to be Grifter and
possibly intelligence to
fool them that I'm an old dude, not just playing an old dude.
Well, I was thinking more to make sure that you position yourself in a way that you get the phone data.
Oh yeah, no, that actually makes more sense. Okay.
And you could probably use
I really want to. Can I also put class clown into this to really sell the doddering old man?
Oh, sure. I was going to say you could probably use your forgettable face too.
I'm the same guy that got him earlier, but now I'm doing it again. This is practically the same thing I did last time, just different character. So that would be a D10, a D8.
Now remember, if you want a plot point back, you can always roll class clown at D4.
Okay. Not sure if that's it. So I got a D10, D8, class clown, and you said I got also that I can use my forgettable face.
Yeah, I mean, especially since, as you say, you've already
done this,
encountered some of them.
Okay. Well. All right. Let's see if I can get that plot point back because I'm pretty. And I only got to beat a 9. There you go. A 9.
Very nice. Yep. So be sure and put your plot points back up to 2. And your highest are 16, it looks like. So you pull this off, yeah, expertly.
All right. So I'm back up to 1 or 2. Okay.
Okay, so you've got, to sum up, you've got evidence of the cooked books. You've got the phone data, which the hacker will probably need to sift through. That may be for the wrap-up. What are you doing? And you've got a contract with this guy, which shows his predatory terms, if you want to make use of that somehow, or... I guess my question is, are we entering the wrap-up phase, or is there more you want to do?
Oh, man. I mean, I'll say as far as I'm concerned, I think we're kind of almost to the wrap-up phase. I mean, even the contract may not be outright illegal, but it does show predatory behavior that would kind of be augmented by everything else.
Yeah,
I'm not entirely sure I can think of anything else, honestly.
No, combined with the phone data and the evidence of cookbooks and the shell companies, that should be everything we need.
All right. Well, Andrew, I'm not going to ask what Olive is doing to that pillow behind you.
Olive.
It's a good thing your cam is super zoomed in on the stream.
Oh my god. So much for being monetized, eh?
I don't know, you might get classified as pornography with that going
Nope. We are super zoomed in. The only thing we managed to see was his mouth and his hair. As glorious as that is, I don't think that counts as pornography.
Okay. Well, So I think it's time for I guess the person who should decide how about this? Who should decide whether we're in the wrap-up phase should be the mastermind. Do you, mastermind, feel that you have enough pieces to pull the plot together? You know? To take the guy down?
I mean, despite the fact that we never even managed to get to the coffee shop, yeah, I think we're in pretty good shape.
Well, all you really need is to, get the loan shark put out of business, and then the coffee shop. Well, actually, that's a good question. What will happen to the coffee shop if the loan shark is put out of business? Do you feel that you've secured their business?
I mean, they only had to finish off 2 payments. Whoever takes over the loan, if anybody takes over the loan, if it's not just outright forgiven, I'm sure we could cover it.
Mm-hmm.
I was about to say, with the wrap up phase that me and the grifter have spoken with, I think they'll be taken care of pretty well.
Okay.
As for making back our money off from the generosity of maybe having to take care of those business payments, that's what our alternative revenue stream is for.
Yeah.
And
It's like you guys don't know me at all.
So what do you think? You ready for wrap up, or?
I think we are ready for the wrap up phase.
I just got to think what I'm going to do what I'm going to do specifically to contribute to the wrap up.
You're going to go get the number of that yoga studio director.
Actually, I can bring her in to testify. I can bring. Since she still has a business that is operational, I can bring her into. I can bring her in to testify, or whatever against him, so that they have. So if we do take this to the authorities have not only just the coffee shop owner, but the yoga studio owner too, and they're both basically saying the same thing.
Oh, why don't we start with your flashback, or your wrap-up flashback then? So how are you going to... how are you going to make contact with her again, and what's going to be your pitch as to why she should testify?
Okay. I will I'm basically going to tell her that okay.
Are you going back in your Mr. Green wow man personality, or?
So I'm gonna go there starting off with it, and then I'm going to flip the I'm gonna kind of flip the script a little bit and be like, and I said, listen, I'm like, listen, I'm not really Mark Green of yada, in my old address that I gave her. Okay. And then I'm gonna tell her, listen, and I'm gonna flash a fake badge real quick, just like not that she can really tell what it is, just kind of flash it real quick. Listen, my real name is Emmett Brown. I am undercover with the IRS. Listen, we're trying to make a case. This guy, he's been on our radar for quite some time now, and we're trying to make a case against him. Your yoga
I love this
studio
face our grifter just made.
Your yoga studio has clearly been victimized by this individual and his shady tactics, and we would like to help you out with this. And and the thing is, though, is we need we've already got the coffee shop owner on board to help testify, but we could really use your assistance to really just nail this home.
Okay. So you want to persuade her to testify?
I want to persuade her to testify against them. Yes.
All right, I'm going to roll difficulty. This is going to be fairly tough because she is scared. Or at least I am rolling some fairly high dice. We'll see what numbers we get. All right, you are going to need to beat a 10 for this.
Okay. Obviously, this is a grifter thing.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay, so this is grifter.
I would say maybe willpower, because you are trying to influence her to do what you want.
Okay. Because I'm trying to get her to do the right thing, can I pop? Because I'm trying to get her to do the right thing, can I tap my modern day Robin Hood distinction?
I don't see why not.
Okay. So that'd be a D8, a D6, and the distinctions are also a D6, right?
No, when you say distinctions, you mean the
Oh yeah,
like modern day Robin Hood?
Yeah.
No, that's a D8.
That's a D8.
Choice between a D8 or a D4.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go with D8s this time. So I got 2 D8s and a D6 then.
Okay.
And I have to beat a 10.
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh.
Crap. Ooh.
Wow.
Hold on.
So we don't really get complications during the wrap-up stage.
Yeah. My question is, let me see. I got 2 3s. Can I use the free luck?
If you tell me what lucky thing happens that that enables you to use it,
you'd
have to roll at least a 4.
Okay. I was gonna say, my intense, you know, maybe she sees me one last time, and my intense, smoldering Latin charm.
Your intensely tight pants.
Yes, and
Jesus, it's a yoga studio. Just say it's karmic whiplash.
Oh, this may
You
also
are complete and utter himbo.
Yeah,
you are like himbo out the ass right now.
You make a great appeal to her, and you can see that she kind of wants to, but she's scared.
Okay, so I have to. So I can add the D10 to that.
Sure, for your like I think in order to make this lucky, maybe you wind up like standing in such a way that the light coming in through a stained glass window like gives you a halo.
Gives me a halo and then just highlights my perfectly chiseled body through my insanely tight pants and shirt. You know, tighter than any federal agent ought to be wearing.
In the line of duty.
Quick, don't forget to do your little Buddhist pose.
Okay, I can at least get a 4 on this.
Oh,
God damn!
now you are going to have to, spend a
plot point.
No, you won't actually, because 10 plus 3 is enough to beat a 10.
Oh,
so,
gotcha. So that's still a 13. That still wins. Mm-hmm. I don't have to use the plot point to add in
the third die, right?
The third die.
Right.
We're
so
just adding that 10 because it was a. We're just adding in that 10 because I didn't put it on the first roll.
So I think with a 10 on the luck there, you know, like it's this really tense emotional scene, and she's like, I want to, but I'm so scared. And then she turns around and she sees you outlined in the light, just looking like a Greek god, and she like rushes forward towards you and says, "All right, I'll do it," and plants a big one on you.
There we go.
Hmm.
Who wants to go next for wrap-up flashback?
I'm gonna go last.
Okay, I guess that
I
means
agree with
Martin.
this. I know exactly what he's doing, so he's gonna go last.
You got something in mind, Martin?
Well, mostly I just have I'm sifting through those phone records.
Mm-hmm.
I already grabbed all the evidence for the laundering.
Mm-hmm. Well, you could now. Nothing's. The phone records haven't exactly come into it. You could do something with those, or if there's anything you want to look for in Novak's apartment, you are the best position to do that. That's another possibility.
Look for a guy named Biff.
I don't have a very high thief skill, which is the one thing I'm worried about there, but I am unassuming hayseed in a physical office.
You're also a mastermind. You could just find a way in.
That's true. Okay, so that would be alertness mastermind. Would that work?
Sure. Just tell me what way you find to get in.
I managed to cut internet I'm sneaking into his apartment, right?
Is that your plan?
I cut off internet to it,
Mm-hmm.
and then once he calls me in, I fix the problem.
Oh, there you
I
go.
would have just used a credit card.
Or that.
Well, that might be still more thiefy.
Yes. I mean, Andrew knows the trick. Martin, I don't know so much. So.
But yeah, that makes perfect sense. The internet goes out. He's got a computer repair shop in the other half of the building. Of course, he's just going to open the door and say, grab the closest person and say, "Hey, come in here and fix this." And you're the closest person. We established that.
While I'm in there, I can also lay down wiretaps. So that is a talent for You Can Hear Me Now when you roll up. That's my hacker die. Never mind. I'm using Mastermind. That talent won't come into play. So alertness, D10. Mastermind, D8. Unassuming hayseed, distinction. And is behind the curve going to come into play here, given it's his apartment?
It might. What is it you're going to do once you get in there?
Honestly, I am just going to be going on a high frame rate recording of the camera every so often while I pull it out, making it look like I'm looking up a diagram for his router, but I'm actually filming. And I just discreetly happen to try and get a hold of some books he's got open in there and thinks, yeah, he's smart enough to know computers, but he's sure enough not smart enough to know my finances. Building off of unassuming hayseed.
Hey, I got a question. Did you take any mastermind talents?
I have not. I might in the future.
Do you really want wiretaps?
I currently... Oh, wait, sorry. I do have one. I have a Sea of Calm as my current mastermind talent, and it's not going to come to play here.
Do you really want wiretaps?
What do you have in mind?
Are you in verbal communication with me?
You should be at all times.
Yep. I would not take my earpiece out.
And guess what? I have Archangel, which means I can spend a plot point to give you an asset. Which means if you want wiretaps, I can give you wiretaps.
So, excellent. That would give me...
an extra D6.
I've got a D8 for Mastermind, D10 for awareness, D6 for the asset just given to me, and 2 D8s for using each of my distinctions. Or two distinctions.
Just one distinction.
Just one? Okay. Then that's D8, D10, D6, D8, and so I just need the target number.
Right. So let's see. He is... I mean, he's careful, as you say. He's a professional. He knows his stuff. But at the same time... I think we're going to call this... All right, beat a 9. I've been rolling a lot of 9s this session.
Damn.
14.
Okay, beautiful. So that's another D6 for the mastermind. And what information do you get out of this that the mastermind can use?
Let's see here. His books are probably going to have more information on the property, so this is one of those points where what would you have me look for while you were in verbal communication with me, actual mastermind?
Find me property lists. If you can find any more contracts that he's squirreled away somewhere, at least get me a copy of one of those.
Real quick, while you guys are doing that, I need to run to the bathroom real quick, so I'll be right back.
Okay, well, we're going to be doing your wrap-up when you get back.
All right, sounds good.
Don't worry, we'll set you up. So, yeah, just plant the wiretap, see if you can find any more evidence on the properties, like a list of them, and see if you can find at least one or two more contracts that name other businesses that he may be extorting.
And that's going to be easy enough if I'm literally accessing the router in his apartment.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And I'm literally running around there with my phone in open camera mode. I'm going to get copies of hard copy and any data he's let slip through.
Cool. Yeah, if you weren't using unassuming hayseed, you could probably use behind the curve for just getting it with camera film.
Either or, so I get it. I can only use one distinction, but...
Yeah. But in story terms, you are using both.
Okay. A D4 and a D4 equal a D8. The caltrop unites into a single D8. Shape-wise, it almost works. It winds up being this really weird abomination D6.
Oh, and I still really want you to find a guy named Biff.
And what, do I just tell him hasta la bye-bye?
Oh no, you'll see. You'll see why we need a Biff.
Okay. Is this a Back to the Future thing, or?
Oh yes, it is.
Okay.
You see, it's funny that our thief decided to go in and use the Doc Brown reference. And we have a Marty. We need a Biff.
That is true. Yeah, now that you mention it.
Because now that our grifter is back, I will tell you why we need a Biff.
Oh,
Grifter,
okay.
Please take it away.
So for my wrap up, my character is gonna go to I don't know the name of the park, but you know the one that has the fountain that was in the intro to Married with Children?
Probably Grant Park if it's the fountain I'm thinking of.
Yeah. So he's going to go out there, and he's going to kind of walk around and look around and stuff and sit down, take out his earpiece, drop it in his pocket, pick out his cell phone, and call his friend.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to kind of, just kind of catch up with her and stuff and stuff like that. And he's going to be like, I thought Chicago would be a little bit different, but I'm running into the same old goddamn shit. It is just insane. I came out here to help a friend set up a business. It was kind of like a bakery type thing, and they wound up getting this bizarre contract that a bunch of people in the area have been getting. And it just kind of details out the contract and stuff like that. Talking to the hacker's nemesis, the IRS agent.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Lorraine Diaz.
And he's just kind of going on and on. And it's like, and I've been having problems with my laptop left and right. I had a problem when I was, stopped by in New York before I came out here. Had to have it fixed. I got out here and I had it, had to have it fixed. And they charged me real cheap. Far below market value. And I swear, you remember when we had that breakfast together after the whole fucking blow up at that spa that we met at? I swear to God, I swear I saw that same motherfucker that like you were staring at. The one that hopped on the bus, I swear he was in the fucking building. He was in there working as a repairman at this fucking computer shop.
I'm going to be the lead in Catch Me If You Can, aren't I?
This
It's
is
not
just
Back to the Future's Biff yet, but I'm already seeing some serious shit.
and just like he's just basically like, you know, incidentally just laying out the full plan for this IRS agent, just being like, look, here's all the shit that I've seen, and it's just fucking bizarre and crazy. Why is everything like this?
So I'm screen sharing the backdrop for where Richard is sitting while he's making this phone call.
I can't look at that without hearing Love and Marriage.
That's the exact one. That's the exact one I was thinking.
Buckingham Fountain, yep.
And yeah, like I said, I'm just like laying out, like
get that on screen.
Just happening to, out here to help somebody fund their business and stuff like that, and just like stumbling across everything, and just like laying out all the stuff, all the name of the computer shop, the name of the group that they got the loan from, everything.
So basically, setting off as many red flags as you can think of in quick succession.
Exactly.
All right. Well, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and roll. Roll the difficulty here. All right. Once again, in order to get her in on this, beat a 9.
Okay.
The D8 there represents the fact that she is busy, and the question is, can you make this urgent enough that she needs to drop everything and do it now?
Okay. So I am rolling 2 D10s and 2 D8s. D8 for independent, D10 for grifter, and alertness to kind of like focus on what she's wanting, what she is looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going ahead and throwing in want to buy a watch because I'm kind of trying to scam her into looking at this like, hey, this is a much bigger problem than you think. And just kind of be like, really just trying to impress on her that this needs attention, but like at the same time being like, I don't know what it is. It's kind of like almost kind of like let me see here. What? Actually, doing a kind of like a kind of trying to portray it as I've happened upon a fraudulent collection agency scam.
Okay. Yeah, I'll allow it.
All right,
I
and
want to buy a watch at 1 remove, but it still applies.
well, I got a 12.
Very good. So you can tell, like, she doesn't commit anything over the phone because she's too professional for that, but you definitely hear her. Your grifter's ear can hear that she's excited about this, and you get the feeling that in fact, we would probably see on the screen as soon as she hangs up, have her hearing her call out to someone. All right, book me some tickets to Chicago. I've got something to look into. So, right. Mastermind, it is your turn now to take it away with 3 extra D6 from your crew.
The funny thing is, I still have no idea how I'm going. Oh, wait, no, I did meet him. All right, give me 1 minute here. I was like, I haven't even met our bad guy yet. All right, so let's see. We have met him. We've had our business meeting. So, question is, how do we call him in without getting him suspicious? Is he the type that would want to inspect the business that he's investing in, or does he care?
Well, I mean, you guys all have grifter skills. I'm sure you can.
That's
you
true.
can make him care.
I do have a legendary hype man who happened to provide this antihistamine to him. So I guess I need to.
Yeah, and I mean, you can roll the extra. Well, if it comes to a roll, you can figure that Elijah figures in as well as an asset. Mr. Tattoo Guy.
Oh, Elijah's gonna factor in. We have plans for Elijah.
Okay. But I mean, he
yeah.
might help talk the boss into, hey, see how those guys with the great medicine are doing.
Why do I even care about what our cams look like right now? It's the end of the stream.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Habit.
Because I'm a stickler.
We
click on the thing that the open stream that Julia had put up. That should remove it and put everything back to where it should.
Oh no.
Oh, I stopped
the
streaming.
reason you can't see anything right now is because I'm still in studio mode.
Oh, okay.
Because I was fixing everything. Anyways, let me see. I started out the start of our end scene. Okay, so we started with Richard calling in Lorraine. So we've got all that. Oh, and then while he's doing that, I'm going to be making phone calls from all of these businesses that we've found out, hey, he's got a hand in. And I am going to be offering them ways out. So, it's just, hey, I'll pay off the building, let me become a silent partner. I'll make sure that you can get out from under this guy. But, this way, you don't got to worry about anything. All you got to do is just make sure that your business keeps going. And if he comes around, you send him to me. So now we're going to have some fun because he knows me as Wayne Anderson. And I'm going to be doing all of this as Delaney.
Mm-hmm.
So when he eventually comes around, I'm just going to be flat out with it. Be like, it turns out I had a little more capital than I let on. Sorry about that, buddy. But when you're running a shill, you got to make sure that you don't just show your hand. So we're going to have all this. I'm going to already have Elijah in the room. Because we're going to offer Elijah a contract to be our leg breaker now. And then I'm sure Lorraine's going to show up at some point. And, I'm just going to sit here and be like, so it turns out that we have all the shell companies that you own. We know all the businesses. And it seems they mysteriously got bought out. And that was me. And Miss Lorraine here is so eager to have a talk with you. I really want to introduce you. She's a contact. She's from the IRS. And it turns out you really need to look who you hire more, because it turns out you hired a person of interest in an investigation, and that didn't really work out for you.
My nickname is going to become Beacon, isn't it?
No, your name is Marty McFly from now on.
Oh, God.
And just because of the fact that we have Carlos to yell at, like, always dragging you into this and putting you in the middle of things, he's going to be Biff.
Well, isn't Carlos Emmett?
Yeah,
but Carlos is Emmett. I would be McFly. I'm the one who's always calling her in.
This is true. We'll settle that later.
To add
insult to injury, I'm going to I'm going to give him a little box. It's going to be this decorative pastel colored box with a ribbon on it. It's be like, oh, by the way, something to remember us by. And when he opens it, it's going to be an actual cupcake. Because he'd be like, so when you said that we could use your second and, retrofit that building, it turns out it had everything we needed already. So we just went ahead and made sure it was a bakery. And we really wanted you to be the first one to test our new products. Yeah, we're not even going for like the whole humiliation conga this time. We're just going to be short and simple. Just fuck you.
No, I think that's excellent. And I have a suggestion for a wrap-up scene, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the four of you sitting around a table at the Cup of Joe coffee shop. Well, the owner, Morello is bringing you, complimentary coffee, and he's like, "This is my blend of the day. What do you think?" I tinker with it. I do something a little different every day. I gotta thank you guys. I love coffee. I love sharing it with the world, and now I can do that. So anytime you guys want to come here, you guys got free coffee on the house for life.
Yeah,
and so as
we're also going to enter a partnership with Cup of Joe. They're going to be our exclusive supplier for our bakery.
Excellent. And so as soon as he goes to see to another customer because they've started drifting in again now that they can, then you start up the conversation about, okay, so his name's actually Marty, but Richard here is the one who's calling people in, so maybe he should be Marty McFly. And obviously, and then as the camera sort of pulls away, we hear you discussing, and the last thing we hear, I'm not sure which of you would say it. You can decide which of you would be saying this, but the last line we hear with is, "So who's Biff?"
That would definitely be Carlos. Actually, I think the best way to end it up is when we do the Who's Biff. The last line is actually Carlos just going, "Great Scott!"
I can't do his voice properly, but yeah.
Okay, so what do we need to roll for all this? So this hilarity that we've set up.
Right, yes. So the only question is going to be here, does Mr. Novak manage to wriggle out of the grip of the law and maybe cause problems later? And at this point, this is where I start rolling all the dice, TM.
I was going to say, like, a metric shit ton of dice.
Mm-hmm. Well, he did not roll especially well. It's going to be a 15.
Okay. So let's see. I definitely
could have been worse.
My dice.
Could definitely be.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say it could definitely have been worse.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and add fun loving to this because we're definitely having fun.
Okay.
And then what do we have? We have 3 D6s that I can add to this, 2 assets and a free luck.
From your you get 3 D6s from your crew.
Okay.
You have the free luck if you need it, but it's down to a D6.
Mm-hmm. All right, so what skill would you say I'm using here?
Mastermind, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Mastermind usually goes with intelligence, so if there isn't anything else that you think fits better, then intelligence is kind of the default.
I mean, this isn't really like an agility conversation. We pretty much have them dead to rights. So as much as I want to use that D10, I don't know if it's appropriate here.
Well, I will let you make the call.
Nah, let's play it on the safe side. We'll just say the D10. Because he is more of a He's an active criminal, so he's going to want to try to wriggle out of it, but I'm going to have to find the ways to trap him. So that's 2d10, 3d6, and a d8. Do we have anything else we can throw on this?
Do any of the assets generated during the job apply? Can you use Elijah? If you flipped him, maybe you could get his testimony?
Yeah.
You've also got the wire.
Like I said, we just offered him a contract, so if he wants to just be the silent muscle in the background.
Or, can you get him to spill the dirt on his former operation?
Yeah.
Spill the dirt on the
so
former
we can add
operation.
Elijah.
Wait, do you spill the dirt? You spill the beans.
Yes.
We spill tea nowadays.
Oh.
No. You have to spill the beans because it's a coffee shop.
Oh,
this is true.
Excellent
You
point.
can't spill tea in a coffee shop. And I'm going to assume that just for once, we're all going to use my same talent of chewing the scenery. Because I feel like we're all chewing the scenery here. So, what is that? D6 or D8?
For a talent, it should tell you.
I did not write it down. Let me pull up the character sheets.
Talents, it varies from talent to talent.
I'm not just going to chew the scenery. I'm also going to be chewing up these pants. Some well-tailored slacks to go with my suit. That really show off the himbo ass. Carlos,
Okay,
always
so let me see here. Chewing the scenery is a general talent. Ah, that's right. It is when I'm posing as someone I'm not. So technically, I was posing, but I have dropped the ruse already.
Okay.
So I think we're good for
Yeah,
what we have.
I think that one's a stretch.
So let's roll it. Oh, damn.
Well, ones don't matter at this stage because, the story's pretty much done.
Yeah.
You have an 8 and a 6, which is a 14. You could spend a plot point to pull in one of those 3s. You still have a plot point, right?
I should still have a plot point. I think I've only used one.
Well, then if you pull in one of those 3s with a plot point, you can get a 17.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that.
That will be a success.
Yeah, I think I'll just pull in that 3.
Okay, so you, so tell us what the last we hear about what's going on with Bill Novak is. What is the IRS doing to him?
I mean, I'm sure after extensive audits, they found multiple shell companies, in multiple cases of money laundering, the predatory contracts, the exorbitant fees. There's got to be at least one, this is the IRS, they don't play around. There's got to be at least one instance where he's in code violation of the building. Probably the computer shop, because I'm pretty sure they're not rated to have a residential area in the back of their shop. The IRS is petty.
Also, because we're dealing with organized crime here, they're probably also gonna look at for as many tax code violations as they can.
Oh yeah, they're definitely gonna slap him with at least a racketeering charge.
And then this case is gonna be a RICO case.
Okay.
Because under RICO, they can get the entire thing. They can charge everybody involved with every little thing that everybody else did.
You know what? Yeah, just to add insult to injury, the only business I didn't silent partner would probably be Slip Disc. Just be like, that was your one legit business, so I didn't touch that one.
Although to be fair, the owner of that business just didn't particularly want to have that happen, but you might approach him after the whole thing goes down.
I mean, he was good to our hacker. Gave him a nice cushy desk and everything.
That's true. And he got victimized like anyone else.
Yeah, exactly. He's an accessory, but well, I'm sure we can help him out with that.
Not a willing accessory. Possibly I didn't make that clear enough when I laid things out, though, so that's on me.
It's just the way they're going to see it anyways.
In the future, he can be an accessory to our shenanigans.
Yeah, you'll still be an accessory to crime, but now it's going to be fun crime.
All right, so last thing, you got to name this job. I think I forgot that last week.
Back to the beanery.
We can call this one, or it can be, the Hill of Beans.
The Hill of Beans job?
That
Yeah,
works.
works.
I like that.
I like it.
Rask, you got any suggestions?
Hill of Beans works for me. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I'm literally the former farmhand. It works for every aspect as far as I'm concerned. It's the coffee aspect. It's,
I mean, that, like,
the
this
Irish
one,
bean counting aspect.
Hilariously, the other two, we, like, rushed through and got a ton of evidence right at the start. This one, we took our time. We didn't need a lot of evidence. So it really was just a hill of beans.
I was going to say, I do love how, like, we took a whole lot of time and prep work and stuff like that, and then we're just like, all right, once we got an idea of what everybody's doing and stuff like that, we just go at it.
Well, the fact that not many complications came up is what made this one really different, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the last roll was the only one that was really kind of off the whole night.
Yeah. But, that happens sometimes.
I mean, it'd be
some
no
people...
fun if we got great successes on everything.
What's that?
Hilarious.
Yeah. Well, some of that is good planning, Some of it is setting things up so that you're doing things that are within your wheelhouse and, kind of priming the ground so that the conditions are right. So I'd say also the fact that you've got a couple of jobs under your belt may make you feel a little more confident about how to approach the situation too.
I mean,
I was going to say, I was going to say, for me, I think with all of us, we're all kind of getting more comfortable with our characters and our builds and be like, okay, here's what we can do. Here's what we need to really kind of focus on and stuff like that, and really learning to play to our best attributes.
In this one, we actually got to do that because, this job, yeah, it had the computer shop, but we weren't really so focused on the digital aspect. So we really got the grifter and the thieves and the masterminds to show through.
I mean, especially for me, the past ones is I've always been looking at the character sheet and being like, okay, what do they count as your standard scams? And they have like really, really old school stuff like false injury, 3-card Monty, pig and a poke, and it's like,
yeah.
But there's so many more that it's like you really just about, if you have an understanding of scamming, realistically, anything you do technically could play to those strengths. Even if you're going for a job interview or, anything legitimate, it's like, if you understand how to scam, you're going to be good.
So since we finished up the session a little bit early this time, I have and also since you've played a few sessions now, I have a question for you guys that I would be interested in your answer to.
Okay.
Because one complaint I have heard about this game from people who don't like it is that you, in a sense, you can't completely blow a job. It is set up so that basically you're going to be able to do something for your client. The question is, does the bad guy get away? But it doesn't really, I mean, maybe if you, I'll finish my thought and then you can go. But I'm just saying, I see your hand. Maybe if you like rolled ones on every single one, or every single roll, it could go really badly. But anyway, I'm just curious what you guys think about that. Whether that bothers you or what.
It doesn't bother me.
Let Rasklin go first because he had his hand up.
Oh, never mind. I didn't see that.
All right. The thing is, we're not taking into account when people make that complaint. I don't think they're taking into account individual stakes. As I have learned personally, you could have a nemesis, and you could very much be that character could potentially be taken out of the game. Like if I did badly enough on Martin's rolls, I could have wound up not catching that bus last time and instead being in the back of a car.
That is true. That could happen, yes.
And go ahead. I think it's Gas, then Olav.
Well, I was just going to say is I think the game as it stands right now, it still captures the essence of what the TV show was, right? Because the thing is, even the TV show. So let's there's a couple times where you can honestly say that the crew did their best, but the villain kind of slipped through their fingers, right? But the villain came back in a later episode, and they took a second shot. They took another run at him, right? Only this time they knew what this guy was capable of. They knew what his tricks were, and so they were more prepared. They were more. And this time they actually got him. So like it opens the door, I think, for like, yes, if we fail, then maybe 2 episodes down the line, we it's like, hey, you know that guy you failed to get the last time? Well, you could take a second crack at him because he's doing this.
Oh, absolutely. But I think some people think there should be ways to say, not only did you not get your client their money back, but now they're in trouble with the law as well because you guys screwed up.
So my thought on that is, if you look at other systems, that type of a situation should be possible, but it should equal to a total party kill.
Yeah.
Like, you have failed everything. That should have the rarity of a TPK.
Well, of course, TPKs, the rarity of those varies from system to system, too.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at like Dungeons and Dragons or something like that, that's not something that should, if that happens if that happens frequently, that means that the DM is making it too difficult. It should be possible if you really roll bad and you really screw up, but it should not be a commonplace occurrence. And I see kind of the failing to succeed in your mission, failing to save your client as the same type thing. It's like, that is the worst case scenario. So it's not something that you should ever really see unless unless everybody agrees that, hey, we're going to crank the difficulty up to 11.
And I mean, I think technically the way this game is set up, you could end up with the entire party arrested. Or, I mean, I guess technically you can get killed in this game, but you would pretty much have to be trying to be killed, I think.
Yeah. But I don't mean that the characters in this game should be killed, but I mean, like,
no.
we fail in our objective. you know, we're sent to save the princess and the princess dies type of thing. As far as like,
yes. I didn't
yeah.
finish the thought. I was going to say the equivalent of a TPK would be like the entire party gets arrested, more likely than they die. And theoretically, that could happen in this game, but I think technically, something good should still happen for the client.
One of the most absurd Dungeons and Dragons ones that I heard of was like the party was sent to literally save this princess from a necromancer, and the necromancer came out with the princess, holding her by the throat, came out with his army. They were crossing a bridge, and the party's like, "It's a rope bridge. Let's just set it on fire and send them into the pit."
Oops.
And they rolled it. They succeeded, and the DM's like, "Okay. So what do you guys do now?" They're like, "Well, we go back to town." It's like, okay. The king looks at you and asks where his daughter is. And like everybody's just like, oh fuck. It's like that's about where I would see like us, like somebody being like, oh hey, you know, you failed to help your client. That would be the level of, you have to fuck up really bad to get there.
So when we ran the first session, one of the things I said was like, this is definitely set up to be a short form game. It's like a series of one shots. So
Absolutely,
any overarching story is going to have to happen through the one shots.
Mm-hmm.
Now the thing is, if we wanted to do a system where like continuously bad rolls could have a problem or can spell a problem for us, there is a story that, like a opportunity for our own little Marty McFly to eventually end up in prison, which opens up an opportunity for the job to be, we're a man down, we have to rescue him.
Yeah, or for those who have seen the show, you will know that there actually is an episode where one of the characters gets sent to prison and discovers a client in prison that the rest of the crew then has to help.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not against having like a certain amount of fails, giving us a not so much a complication, but like a
story
negative
setback,
plot point or a negative plot line, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, and I think that is separate from the complaint that some people have, though, which, like I said, is they would want, they feel like it's too gentle or whatever. The way it's set up, you're set up to succeed in each one shot.
I mean, in ways, it can be, but then also it goes down to party skill, because sure, we have a dice pool, but if you don't know what you're doing, it's still easy for you to get set back really hard.
And to that point, what I was going to say is, so when the people who made this game, the game designers were making it, they had one goal in mind, and that was to replicate what you see in the TV show. And for all intents and purposes, mechanically, I think it does that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to have a problem with the fact that you're always going to be helping the client in some way, that is literally just a byproduct of the source material that they were referencing when they built the mechanics behind the game. Because
yeah, I don't disagree.
That's how the show worked. And so I don't think it's not an issue of technical skill or the ability of the people who made the game. I think they got exactly what they were going for, and they made the exact product that needed to be made to replicate what fans of the show wanted as far as an interactive experience.
This taps into something. I was asked recently to describe Leverage as a game. And I had, until recently, been saying, oh, take Shadowrun, then take out the magic, take out the future. You're doing that in modern day. And at the time, I thought that was accurate. But the more I think about it, I was thinking, no, it's what happens if you take those aspects of Shadowrun and you mix it with Fiasco, which felt a little more closer to the tilts and such that you go over, and that game feels very much like a lot of the asset creation over here. But it occurs to me I am missing something, and that is the spirit of leverage. If they are basically a bunch of Robin Hoods.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I was gonna say my view on the game is kind of, well, it's maybe this is just because of the character that I'm playing, but it really is, it really is you're trying to pull a scam, period.
Oh yeah.
Not so much in the game, but as a player. We are trying to convince the fixer, that is you, that we should be able to do this. We will provide you with enough reasoning that we should be able to accomplish this, and then relying on the luck of the dice to help us out.
And as far as we go, it comes down to, this is our first RPG as a group together, but we all know each other and we know our strengths. Like I was saying earlier, when we were talking about the business scam, I had already thought of that, and I was just waiting on the proper time to introduce it. But then we had our grifter pop up and was like, hey, why don't we just start a business? So it's like I said in chat, where we were saying, yeah, there's Shadowrun's level of dice. I was like, yeah, it's a dice pool game, and this crew just likes to make sure we flood the pool, because we are always making sure we have enough assets, enough information, we use our talents to the max, and we always know how to persuade the case. We can always argue the most insane case for the weirdest dice rolls.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say, to be honest, I also had the exact same idea right when we started the game. I just didn't want to say anything because I wanted to I was like, well, that sounds like something the mastermind should be coming up with. So I'm hoping he's thinking about the same thing. And I just didn't say anything the entire time.
Three of us have been in a roleplay system together before. We know how each other run things. So, we're usually... I think the problem comes... our biggest problem is going to be that we're always one step ahead of each other.
Aiden's going to overthink things. I'm just going to say, fuck it, let's do it.
It's never overthinking. It's always when's the best time to spring this? And I'm just like, oh shit, we're already 4 times or 4 things away from this. It would have been really good to spring it back there.
In as far as I've seen, Gas Giant kind of thinks, okay, where's everybody's strength? This person would be good there. This person would be good there, type of thing.
I'm very tactically minded. In fact, when I play D&D with my friends, they've literally told me that when we're playing D&D, the D&D combat, I'm playing chess. The DM and the rest of the group is playing checkers. Right? I'm 6 steps ahead of everybody. I've got the perfect move thought out. I take out 6 guys at once with a level 1 ability, and everyone else is barely hanging on trying to whack on this guy over here.
Which, you know what, now that I think of it, that's how we've always kind of played with each other. That's how we've managed each other's movements in the past, is we know Gas is going to have the perfect move. But then the question is, when do we throw that move? Which is where I come in. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's perfect. But not just yet, because the impact's not going to be right. And then in order to make sure everyone's smiling and cool, and to make sure we get that opportunity, that's where we send in Olaf. Because he's going to smile and shake hands and be our diplomat.
Well, this was really fun tonight, guys. And this was particularly interesting to me because I've run this scenario a couple of other times before, and every group approaches it differently. So it was fun to see where you guys... I don't think anybody's ever gotten someone a job at the computer shop before, for example. So...
yeah, I've noticed that go-to tactic is always plant somebody.
Get someone a job somewhere.
Well, and I don't think anybody's ever befriended one of the thugs either. So you guys threw me a bunch of curveballs.
We didn't just befriend him. We befriended him after I totally ripped him off.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things that you'll find with this group is we will throw the weirdest shit, the most bizarre situations that you can imagine, and then just turn it up a couple notches.
If there's somebody there that is supposed to be our arch nemesis and be on our way, first thing we're going to do is give him a hug. And depending on which one of us is hugging him, that depends on what we're doing. I'm sizing him up for a knife in the back.
And Carlos is probably picking his pocket. And
Yeah, he's going for the wallet.
Picking his pocket while probably making out with him. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Who knows why? I mean, that's it. Hey, wandering hands. I got an excuse.
I mean, one of these days he's going to have to be honest. He's going to accidentally cop a feel and be like, to be honest, I was going for your wallet, but I found a coin purse.
Yes.
All right. Well, I have work in the morning, so I should probably
Yeah, I think it's time for our outros.
take my leave. But this was really fun tonight, guys.
Well, glad you enjoyed.
I certainly had fun.
What do we need to do for outros?
Whatever you think you need to do.
Usually it's say goodnight and promote anything that you've got to promote. So like your radio show or whatever.
Yeah.
Sure. I will piggyback onto Rasclin's radio show promotion because he does such a great job of it. Also, join us again in 2 weeks for another episode of Leverage. How about that for promotion?
Yeah, see, there you go. You're the fixer. That should be your job.
There you go.
But if you're piggybacking, that means that Rasclin needs to do the promotion first.
Yes, Rasclin, do it.
I do, but everyone else goes before me.
That's true. He is a professional.
This is true.
All right, so I guess that Carlos or Olaf, who wants to go first?
I'll go first. Thanks a lot, everyone. Had a lot of fun tonight. And I am very much looking forward for the return of everybody's favorite himbo, Carlos Rojas.
All right. As always, guys, thanks for being here. If you want to catch me on my channel on Olaf Productions, we're going through Mass Effect 2 right now, and don't forget, every Friday night at 9:15, we do Pirates of the Geek Vortex with Rasslin and Caden, myself, and every once in a while our favorite Canadian. And yeah, have a good night.
Oh, wow. He doesn't even get a name. That's our favorite Canadian Gamers Grotto, by the way.
Couldn't think of
Saturday
it.
night, Over the Edge on Community Radio for East Central Illinois, 90.1 FM, WEFT Champaign. Streaming online at new.weft.org/listen.
And you can catch me on Celtic Music Go Bra, Sunday nights from 6 to 8. Also, Champaign-Urbana Radio Theater, Monday nights at 7.
All right, which leaves me, first off, one of these days I will remember to add the link to Rasclin's show in the description, because I know that can be a terrible, terrible time to try and catch that.
The Spiritron Archives might be better, but
yeah, don't worry about it. But also, we are announcing the return of Howling into the Void. We are going to try and keep up with our Tuesday theme. So, we haven't set a time yet, but next week, around 8 or 9 EST, so around 7 to 8 Central, we are going to try and stream. We're going to have a bunch of new people because we are going to see who we can introduce. But I'm not going to introduce them yet. We're going to do that whole episode as intros. So we're going to have some fun. Look forward to that. And we will see you here again in 2 weeks for another episode of Leverage. All right. Everybody good?
I think so.
Awesome.
All right. I will see you guys later.
All right.